She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Hummel, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, you guys. Welcome to Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Alicia.
I am your host, Luke.
And today we're going to be talking about the
Fantastic
Four!
First steps.
First steps.
Just a little first steps.
Yeah, so we're very excited to talk about this movie. We have some good things to say. We're going to kind of talk about, we watched it once separately, and then we did like a double feature yesterday of Fantastic Four and Superman, which was very fun, because I feel like tonally they're very different movies, so it's not really one of those of like, wow, like one is clearly like 1,000 times better. I think they're both good. I think I would still add, like, I think a lot of people are thinking that you would still add like 20 minutes to both of them, maybe for different reasons, but I don't know. They're a very fun double feature.
Yeah, they're both very positive movies.
Yeah.
I would say they both have very positive themes, which I think I can see why they're being lumped together.
Yeah.
But they both have very different angles to like how they talk about them, I would say, is maybe how I would phrase it. But overall, them being back to back is a party.
Very fun. Very, very fun. I mean, this is like ideally what we want to happen in the comic book world, like movie world. So we want like a healthy dose of DC and Marvel. That's like my ultimate goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, yeah. I don't know. I guess I just jump right into it.
Absolutely. I would actually like to start this conversation, as we do a lot of the times, with, some context in the franchise.
Right.
So, Fantastic Four. This is the, ironically, the fourth movie that they've had, released by Hollywood. So, what are your experiences like with these other three movies?
And technically there is another one with
There
the really,
is.
really
it's
old.
very, very old though, and that cast is actually in this movie, which I think is very fun.
Yeah. Like just like the tiniest of cameos. I missed it on my first watch, and I was looking for it on my first watch because I was like, oh, this is where it would be if they're gonna have it, because I heard about that. Yeah. So, we'll talk about where that is a little bit later if you want to see it. I actually kind of liked the first two. I mean, I didn't love the first two. I definitely think they have their problems, but I also think they have a lot of fun as well. I think Chris Evans is very, very charismatic as Johnny Storm, even if he's like an asshole as well. I don't know. It's Chris Evans, so it's just like he's just very charming, so it kind of works. Sue Storm, obviously not a huge fan of the obvious like 2000s story they do with her. I'm like, oh my god, I'm naked because I can turn invisible. Okay. But otherwise, like I like the actress, and otherwise I think she's cool. I think Mr. Van, I don't know. I like all four. I like what they explore with the Thing. That's like a really good, I would say, introduction to how they become the Fantastic Four. So, because you don't get that in this movie, similar to Superman, you kind of just jump right in, where they're already established and have been for a while as the superheroes. So, if you want kind of an origin story, I would probably watch the first one. They do some fun stuff, but they definitely have some problems as well. But they're better than the 2015 version. Way better.
Any thoughts to share on the 2015 version beyond that?
Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan deserved better.
Sure.
And you know what? To be fair, that movie has, allowed us to have one of the best like gifts ever, which is like, say that again, like iconic. Even though it's like so like in the film, as a GIF, it's great. I love that GIF. But anyways,
No, I agree
about
with
you?
most of that. I remember the first Fantastic Four movie, like 2005, I think is when it was.
mm-hmm.
I can remember the first time I actually like sat down and watched that movie, and I adored it. I watched it a lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
and then I rewatched a lot of those early 2000s not MCU, but Marvel movies
mhm.
for Deadpool and Wolverine,
Mhm.
and I included those two as well.
Okay.
And I will say, my nostalgia glasses were torn off.
Yeah.
I will say it's very like trashy 2000s rom-com as the main plot of the movie,
Yeah.
which is horrible.
It's just like, I don't know. I liked parts of it. It's hard because I do like the group, but
It wastes really great casting with the story. I was
Yeah.
actually surprised to find that I liked the Silver Surfer better, like
Mhm.
the second one.
yeah. Yeah. Actually, I feel like I've been seeing that more and more lately.
But I remember liking the first one so much, and clearly, I did,
Mhm.
because I was young and I was like, oh my
Didn't
god, these
know.
are so cool,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
their whole like love story is so like so cheap. It's like I could like I probably could have written that script at the age that I first watched that movie. Like that's
Dang.
how like poorly
Okay.
written that whole love triangle thing is.
Whatever they were trying to do. Mm-hmm.
It's gross. Also, was
Yeah.
super surprised to come back to it and be like, and like realize that Jessica Alba is not a white woman.
Mm-hmm. They really tried to
that
make her
is-
look like one.
And that I think is abhorrent.
Yeah. They,
There.
really tried to make her look like one.
That ugh.
So.
That also really gross.
Yeah. I don't know.
But, and I feel like she gets her shot to like actually be an actual character in the second one, which is good.
Yeah.
But the cast overall is a very strong pick for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 2015, I remember seeing it in theaters and
Me
being
too.
like, cool. And then I
Listen.
like sat on it and I was like, they talked a lot about that machine.
Yeah. Well, because when I saw it in theaters, I had not seen the 2005, whatever. Yeah. I hadn't seen the first two. So I didn't have any context whatsoever on what the Fantastic Four was. So just like as an action movie and like with the actors I liked, I was like, cool. And then now later I'm like, ugh. Because they're just not the Fantastic Four. I hate it. I hate it. The costumes are so bad. They're so bad.
Yeah, it's a very bland
Anyways,
movie.
yeah.
Like it's like they were
It's
trying
very like 2015, like very like Man of Steel time. But what I feel like Man of Steel has redeeming qualities that does not.
I was about to say
you
like the
know?
exact same things. It feels
Yeah.
like they were like, let's do a Man of Steel version of the Fantastic Four, but like not have a script that's nearly as like good in
Right?
talking about actual like concepts and things.
Yeah, I totally agree. But anyway, it has like the aesthetic, but not the quality. I would say.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's a great way to put it.
The dark aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's what a lot of like starting franchises in the superhero genre were trying to be after like the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
So I guess trying to meet audiences where they are, but
I guess. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
sometimes
so.
the audiences are just in bad places and you don't want to meet them there.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
Nice.
So
How'd you feel like before seeing this movie?
before seeing this movie, I was very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I remember all of the conversations being had about who the cast was going to be. I remember the rumor mill about who was going to play who. I remember that was such a fun and interesting time.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still remember like Penn Badgley and Jodie Comer being like pitched as
I was
as the pair.
I remember
I
it was
think.
very close. Like it was offered to Margot Robbie.
Mhm.
It was offered to I think Adam Driver.
Mm.
Penn Badgley was my original pick, and I was like, that is literally
Okay.
perfect.
Mhm.
Him and you, but like not a gross
Maybe
pervert
not
and on the side of good.
serial killer,
like there's
stalker.
a similarity between the way that their brains work. I
Yeah.
think that would
Very
like,
calculated. Yeah.
and I think that would have worked really well for Reed. And then I remember like Daveed Diggs was in the casting pool for Ben.
Yes.
Pa-
I also loved that.
Oh, what's his name? Paul Mescal
I think so.
for Johnny.
Mescal?
I think that was one of the ones that people really thought was about to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So some very interesting. I remember Steve's actor from Stranger Things.
Oh.
People were talking about him
I
being
forgot his name.
Johnny Storm. I also forgot his name, but he's very talented.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place, really.
Yeah.
With who was going to be in this cast. I'm sure, like,
Yeah.
there's some studio-style episode that could be made about casting a super high-profile team that everyone thinks they know what that team is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
But
It's very, very fun. And the way they revealed it was so fun. And I think it was really clever, too, because everybody had their own opinions and very strong opinions. But I think when they released it, I want to say, not long after that, they released, like, a drawing of what they looked like in their
Yes.
characters. And I think that was a really smart move. To be like,
and you can see those things.
Picture them.
They released a couple of pictures in the couple of years leading up to this movie, and you can actually see them in the movie, which is very fun. Because it's like, yeah, they just had to make that anyway, so they just used it for promotional material, and I think that's so smart.
Yeah.
But so maybe going in order on how we felt about this main cast.
Okay.
So, where's IMDb?
You know, Actually, can we talk about Johnny first?
I would love to start
Okay.
with Johnny.
Because I feel like a lot of people have strong opinions. What is the actor's name?
Joseph
Quinn. Yeah. I kept wanting to say Johnny, even though that's not. Anyways, that's his character's name. A lot of people have strong opinions on him in general, not just as Johnny Storm. I think because they don't, like, without seeing him in his element, they don't find him attractive. But I think people forget that, like, you have to see, like, sometimes, like, the charm and the attractiveness comes from how they move and how they carry themselves, the confidence, the
Absolutely.
wittiness, like, he has charisma whether or not he's, like, conventionally attractive in certain people's eyes. It's like Stranger Things.
It's exactly like Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's why it's so mind-boggling that some people were hating on him from that show. I mean, I guess I understand because, like, a lot of people were taking the Eddie thing, like, kind of too far and, like, weird and being like, we're part of his cult. And, like, I don't know if you were on TikTok at that point.
I was not. But I do remember before I even watched Stranger Things, everyone was heartbroken over that character.
Yeah.
And that alone, because, like, seeing pictures of what he looks like in that show is, like,
Yeah.
I was, like, literally going into season 4 being like, oh, I know what happens to him.
Yeah.
I feel like I won't care nearly as much as the internet. And then immediately I was like,
Oh, shit. No,
And,
like,
like,
that's what he does.
it literally is. I could not fathom people being so against that casting because he's so, like, charismatic and, like, immediately in every project I've seen him in so far has, like, has a spell over the audience that instantly is like, oh god, we got to keep this guy safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't know. It's just, I was always on board with that casting. I adored that casting. That one from, I think, you know, Sue was a close second for me, but I feel like his was definitely where I felt most confident in out of
And
the
I
four.
think at that point we had trailers coming out for A Quiet Place Day
Place.
One, where same thing. He's very captivating.
Him in
and
that
he's
movie,
so,
man.
Ugh, hard on his chest.
Cute.
He's so great. He's such a great talent.
Yeah.
And
Even him in Gladiator was fun, even though, like, his character was obviously totally different from A Quiet Place Day One and whatever. It's just, he's just such a great actor. Like, I love that he's getting work, and I just hope and know that he's gonna get more work. So, yeah.
absolutely.
know.
Like I feel
gonna
like
get some
he
good
is
paychecks,
one of the
too.
most deserved up and comings.
Yeah, I agree. Especially from
Maybe
that
not
show.
up and coming, but rising star.
I think for the most part, There's like two people I can think of that I wish were getting more work from the Stranger Things cast. It's, oh my gosh, I need to rewatch that show. It's Dustin and Erica's older brother. Why can't I think of his name?
Dude, I also can't think of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I seem kind of fake as fuck right now, but I think both of their actors deserve a lot more work. But I'm very glad like Finn Wolfhard's getting a lot more work. Sadie Sink. Even like.
Although Dustin's on Broadway right now, isn't he?
Is he?
I know he was Evan Hansen in Dear Evan
Oh,
Hansen.
that's true. I don't know what the other guy's doing.
I don't know either.
He
But a
needs
lot
to
of
be
people
doing
want him
more
to be Miles, so we'll see if that ever works out for him.
Yeah. But then did you see like it was like a week ago they were talking about how they can't use him in live action. I don't remember if Kevin Feige said that or if who said that. But someone was like, we're not allowed to use him in live action.
I don't know. Things change.
Which
Just
I
depends
don't
on
know.
what deal they want to make with Sony.
Yeah.
So
Well,
never say never.
Yeah, and that could also be like a lie.
Sure.
to
A
cover
lot
up
of lies
something.
coming out of Marvel these days.
Yeah. So, because they have to, because everybody's revealing everything and making it not fun anymore. So, anyways.
But so overall, Joseph Quinn, the internet was very against it. And I remember
just
I
so
had a
wild to me.
There was a very funny interaction. I almost want to say I think it was either Wanda's attorney or another like Wanda-centric page on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, these two actors literally look nothing alike. What do you mean they're siblings? And then I posted a picture of what Sue and Johnny looked like in the 2015 version. I was like, well, it's not worse than this.
Yeah, not a great example, but because this movie sucks, but also like an example could be worse. So that's a stupid complaint. Also, I feel like I don't know if it was look wise or maybe it was partially look wise, but it was definitely most like a lot of acting. I feel like they felt like siblings.
No, they certainly feel
for sure.
because they're actors.
Yeah. Let good actors do their jobs and you will believe them that they're siblings. Like, anyways, that's how it works.
Next I want to go to Ebon Moss Backrack as
I don't know how to
the
say
thing.
his.
Backrack.
Love you,
Backrack,
King.
I think.
I have no idea how to say your name.
But it's Ben
It's okay.
Grimm.
Yeah.
So he is most popular from his role in The Bear. This is actually his second Marvel role, though. Because he was in Punisher Season 1.
He was.
He was the tech guy who was working with Punisher and was his guy in the chair.
Right. Right. Yes. I know
I think
exactly who you're
Micro was
talking
his name.
about. Yes.
Yep, that was
Okay.
him.
Very fun. Because he had like longer hair,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
So, I will say his role in The Bear was like the perfect call for him to be here because he
Yeah.
has such like cousin energy as the
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And then he cooks
that
here, which is-
works.
Ugh.
Yeah, like the first teaser trailer, it's him like in the kitchen, and it's like they know what they're doing here. Like because also Disney owns the Bear, so it's
Yeah.
like I mean, they can make it as similar as they want because they ain't getting sued. So there you go, and it works here. It's not like a lazy copy and paste. It's like it just works here.
Yeah, it's just vibes.
Yeah. It almost would be weird to have something else because it just wouldn't work as well. So, yeah. I also loved his casting. I feel like his casting was the most obvious to me. I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. Like, I've seen other fan casts
I
for
think
the
his
thing.
is definitely the most like universally like accepted one.
Yeah,
especially at the time
like-
through completion.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought he was great, like beforehand, and he was in the movie.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
there you go. I'm excited to see more of him.
Next, I think we'll go to Vanessa Kirby, who was cast as Sue Storm.
Yeah.
I think we also were lucky to be some of the few people who went to go see Napoleon beforehand.
Yeah.
Because
She was great in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh yeah, like, and I didn't know her very well beforehand,
Mhm.
but I remember her being in those conversations. Then I watched that movie and I was like, yeah, that's like
Let's
Perfect.
do it.
Like, that's perfect. Let's
I
do it.
could see the roots here.
And like I didn't like a good amount of Napoleon,
Mm-hmm.
but every part of like her, because like it was like half Napoleon conquered the world, and then
Yeah.
half Napoleon and his romance with her character.
Yeah.
And it was like that part is really interesting. This like I don't know. It was trying to make two different movies one movie.
Yeah. And yeah. I agree. But I also at the time had already seen her as White Widow in the Mission Impossible
Yes, I hadn't
movies,
watched those
so.
yet. She's so good at that as
Yeah.
well.
Especially when she's I guess this is spoilers for what is it, Dead Reckoning?
Dead Reckoning.
Because she's in 2. She's in like Fallout and
Dead Reckoning and Fallout.
But in Dead Reckoning, they're on a train where Vanessa Kirby has to act like it's Haley Atwell's character, Grace, being the White Widow. And I think that's awesome, and I think she does such a good job with that. Like, you could see the little, like ticks, and I don't know exactly how to describe it, but, like, the tiny little details of this is Grace,
Yeah.
not White Widow.
Absolutely.
I think that's great. So,
I think
I don't
that's
know.
Grace.
Grace.
In disguise.
I think that's fantastic.
No, but I was
Anyway.
we were super on board. I think
Yeah.
looking back at some of the other options, I do think that she was always the strongest one. Although I do think Jodie Comer would have done some fun work.
No,
but
especially after seeing her in 28 Years Later, I'm like, that still would have been really
she was
fun.
like, I need another mom role.
Yeah, like, I'm not mad about Vanessa Kirby whatsoever. I'm actually very, very happy. But it's like in a separate sentence, like very, like I would still watch something as like if they made 2 movies or whatever, I would honestly watch it. Not that I'm obviously they're not, but if they did, it's some alternate reality.
And then we had Pedro Pascal revealed as Reed Richards.
So this was interesting because I feel like people, I want to say, were pretty split on this.
I think this is one of the bigger divides.
Yeah.
Maybe like this and Johnny Storm, I think, were
Yeah.
very similar.
And, you know, where with Johnny Storm, we were very much on board with it, like, more than any of the others. I feel like this one we were also kind of like, at least for me, I wasn't against it, but I was very much like, I'm going to have to wait and see what he's doing with this. And honestly, it took me until the second watch to really, really get it. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more when we get into the movie. But I don't know. It felt like to me, because I was picturing, it's hard because I was picturing the 2005 version of Reed. And that's very different from what's happening here. And, you know, I know, like, Pedro Pascal is very charming. He's very, like warm. Like, you feel like you can trust him. He plays a lot of dad roles, whatever. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could picture him as, like, a really smart guy that's calculated and always doing, like, science and all these things. I don't know if I could picture that side of him. So I was kind of doubting it. But I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I do love him. And I want to see what he does, basically. But that's the only one out of the 4 that I wasn't, like, on board with, I would say.
I feel a lot the same way. It was
Yeah.
the only one where it's like, I don't have any reference for how he's going to play this.
Yeah. And, you know, I haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but now knowing what he did with it, can you think of a role that's, like, similar to this?
Oh, this year, Materialists. I think
Yeah?
those 2 characters have a lot of similarities beyond the really funny one I said.
Right.
Let it be known, this is the second movie of 2025 where Pedro Pascal's characters extend their legs.
right. Anyways, now you have to go watch Materialist to know what we're talking about. Anyways, yeah.
But yeah, I was very interested to see what they do here, and then it was kind of coming out that he was not going to be the main focus of this movie. which inherently I was also pretty on board with.
Yeah.
Reed
me
has been
too.
the main character of the past 3,
Mhm.
and respectfully, those no Fantastic Four movie did particularly well. So, you know, I was happy to see a bold swing where they were trying to try new stuff to make sure that this one was different.
Yeah.
And this one is very different from
Yeah.
all of the other ones.
Absolutely. So.
So I was very on board. It did make me further wonder what his Reed was going to look like, since he was going to have less screen time than any
Yeah.
other Reed,
Mhm.
which he does.
Mhm.
He just does. And maybe not screen time, then like
Presence.
presence is a great word for it.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm like struggling over here. Anyways,
So
do you want to talk
I think
about?
that's. Ooh, one
Silver
last thing.
Surfer?
Ooh, Silver Surfer. How do
Okay.
you feel about the original Silver Surfer?
Oh, I mean, I thought he was fine. I thought his design, especially for the time, was good. I thought the concept that he brought into the movie, like what his board did to the 4 of them, I thought was very, very interesting. I was almost like wondering if that was happening in this movie, because we see in the trailer Johnny touch her board. So I was like, is it gonna happen again in this movie? Anyways, I'm gonna move on before I say anything. So, I don't know. I feel like he didn't leave like a huge impression. Like he was good, but it was not in a way where I was opposed to like another version of him, like the Shalabal in this case. Especially Julia Garner, like I'm so on board for that. She's so talented. So sorry that she was in Wolfman. We're gonna pretend she wasn't, and this is her year because she was in Fantastic Four and she's about to be in Weapons. So there you go.
That's gonna be a great 1-2 punch for her.
You should say the thing about the
Oh,
kids.
yeah, no kidding. Like, there's Wolfman, where her daughter is getting chased by a werewolf. There's this movie where she's trying to do a thing with the kid.
Yeah.
And then there's Weapons coming out next month, where her entire classroom of kids goes missing. This is
Yeah.
not a year for Julia Garner's characters and
And-
children.
Yeah.
She's got her
Don't
fictional
let her
characters have beef
babysit.
with children.
Yeah. So maybe stay away. I like now. I want to know if she is a mom, like in real life.
That'd be interesting to know.
That'd be really funny. You were like, oh no. But anyways,
Trying to think. And then
I was on board with it.
so we knew Galactus was going to be in this one as well.
Yeah.
And Galactus is in the second Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
So I
As
do
a
remember
cloud.
there being some conversations about, you know, are general audiences going to buy a giant that eats planets?
Mhm.
How do you kind of feel about that? Especially as someone who isn't as comic goer, comic fluent
Yeah.
as this movie might be targeting.
I don't know. It rides a weird line for me because I personally, and I'm so sorry to those who are fans of this movie, but at least from what I can remember, and I need to rewatch it. We were just talking about this. But the most recent Suicide Squad movie, I always forget which one has the in front of it. And the one with like, I was gonna say Margot Robbie. The James Gunn one, the most recent one, the one that way more people like. I'm not a huge fan of it, and actually I don't like it. I just straight up don't like it. But I don't think I've watched it since I watched it in theaters. I don't think so. Anyways, because I just remember really hating. I think it went too far into weird for me. Like I didn't like the starfish. I didn't like the squirrel girl or rat girl or whatever she
Ratcatcher.
was. The polka dot man. I was like, this sounds like made up and stupid. Sorry. But then we have Superman, which is also a very comic booky movie, very comic booky movie. But it worked for me because I feel like it never went. I don't know what that line is, and I don't know where to draw it. But there is a line. But I feel like Galactus. I think it depends on its line, or not line design, like how they make Galactus look, and how they make him eat planets. And how they have the other characters kind of interact and react to him. I think that matters a lot. I think the Suicide Squad, the design was supposed to be very like full on, probably what you would see in a comic book, and then none of the characters really taking anything seriously in that movie, I think made it suffer more because it just felt more like a joke because the characters treated it like a joke. So it's like, how am I supposed to take this seriously and not think this is stupid when the characters think this is stupid and like don't take it seriously? So this movie is very, very, very serious. So I don't know. I feel like that helps. I feel like he definitely has his like classic design as far as I've seen, like from the comics. I think he looks like similar.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not like aggressively like purple or pink or whatever.
The muted colors, I think, do a lot.
Yeah, and I think like the design of where he's at in the sky, I'm trying to be vague. And then how he oh my gosh. Anyways, sorry.
You didn't
guys.
eat that.
I did not eat that. How he eats planets. I need to be done.
Okay,
Your
I'll
turn.
take over. I was very excited. I remember, I don't know if I ever watched the second one. I remember, like, the only thing I remembered from the second one was that the Silver Surfer was in it, and that they kept swapping powers.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching, like, whenever I was doing my rewatch of it, I was like, oh my gosh, Galactus. Am I going to see Galactus?
Mm-hmm.
And then you see what they're trying to say Galactus is, and I'm like, oh.
That's stupid. At least Galactus is actually here.
Yes, I
So-
100% buy this, because also at the same time I was like watching that original movie, I was also playing the Lego Marvel Superheroes game constantly, and Galactus is the big antagonist of that.
Okay.
So I've always been a very big fan of Galactus. In cartoons that I've watched with Marvel, Galactus is like a big deal. He shows up and it's like, okay, how do we save the planet here? And it's always like a big thing that everyone has to deal with because it's planet Earth under attack. So I've always really enjoyed him, and he's always been very intimidating and major threat every time he shows up, which is very fun.
And I like the concept of him not necessarily like being pure evil and wanting to like destroy planets, but he just has to. Like, that's just how he lives and functions. And even within that, he's very careful to like pick which ones he eats and like and things. I don't know. I just find that very interesting that it's not just it makes it more nuanced than rather than just like, I'm this big space god that goes around and eats all these planets because I want to. Yeah.
He comes
So.
to Earth and he goes.
Anyways.
Woo!
that's why he picked the Silver Surfer.
Now, I will say, I really like, another part I've always really liked about Galactus is the different heralds he has. Because he has, I don't know if he always has them at the same time, but there's a bunch of different characters who are like his heralds.
Okay.
Silver Surfer is always the main one. Then there's also Terrax, who is one who has like this hammer that can like move. He's like an earthbender with his hammer.
Oh.
And like he always like floats around on a piece of earth that like gets lifted up with his hammer inside of it. He's always a very interesting one. Also with the idea of like him going and like warning planets, and he can control the earth.
Yeah.
I think that also goes hand in hand, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's one I can never remember, but then there's one that's like fire themed. And it's
Okay.
supposed to like very like bounce off of like Human Torch's character.
Okay.
So they don't show up a lot. If there's ever another herald, it's always Terrax because he's a dick.
Okay.
But I don't know. Because Galactus can make anyone his herald, which I think has also been interesting. Like there have been temporary heralds. I remember there's on Disney XD. We have Disney Channel for boys. They had an Avengers cartoon there that I really enjoyed the early seasons of, and one of them, Tony becomes his herald.
Interesting.
It's I don't know. I really
Okay.
like the stuff that they can do with Galactus, and specifically who he chooses to be his herald. I've always thought that was very interesting. They don't do a lot with that Here, I don't think they need to, but
No.
I've always just found Galactus very interesting.
Yeah.
There's layers.
Layers, nuance. We love it.
This is the first time we've seen Herbie, which is cool. Live action.
I love Herbie. He's so cute. You have to go listen to his little lullaby.
He's such a king.
I can't believe people listen to his lullaby and can't hear him saying "Sleep Well, Franklin." He's literally like that's literally what he's saying. Sleep well, Franklin.
Ugh.
I love him
And the design
so
is
much.
Cool. The idea
yes.
that he's like a tape with for eyes.
Yeah.
Ugh, just such a great design all around.
Yeah, he is great. And everybody's really nice to him. Like, he's, like, a part of the family.
Absolutely. He's giving Alfred vibes in the Bat family.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like... I really like that the little detail that Johnny, like, scratches his head like a dog. I think that's really cute. And then I love the very brief interaction between him and Sue, where she's like, "Hello, Herbie." I don't know why I love that scene so much because it's so short and that's all she really says to him. But I just find it so cute. Like, you could tell there's love there, and I don't know, very, very fun.
Yeah, I did also want to talk about Matt Shackman, our director, for this one.
Yeah.
So the most notable thing that he did before this, because he comes from television.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, this is his first movie he's directed.
It's crazy.
And I think we can both agree a very strong
Yeah.
start. Like,
Yeah.
a great start.
That's awesome.
But essentially, the gig that got him this was WandaVision, because he directed all the episodes of WandaVision.
Yeah.
So I was also very excited because I adore WandaVision. Like, WandaVision is one of, if not my favorite, like, show.
Yeah.
So
It's really good.
I was very excited. The idea that he's going into another project that focuses around family, has, great use of powers, very different powers,
Yeah.
and managing to balance, action and visual effects with a lot of heart and emotion. I was very excited to see that come to life.
Yeah. I don't know. I also think I was excited because I liked the visuals from WandaVision. The visuals here are like, oh my god, they're so good. I know, like, if you've been on social media at all, you've probably seen that people are talking about the second act, but more specifically the space sequence. And it's like, I mean, it's as good as people are saying.
It's very
for sure.
transcendent.
I know a lot of people are saying, if you haven't heard, it is definitely inspired from Interstellar.
Yes.
For sure. Like, without a doubt, he definitely thought about that when filming that. So, and
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think there's some very interesting stuff here. Like, I would say the aesthetic of the 60s gives, like, some, like Back to the Future 2 vibes, which is very fun. But it still, like, has such a unique edge to it. I would go as far to say that, like, the production design of, like, the 60s retro futuristic style is as greatly utilized here as the Gotham aesthetic is in the Batman. And that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's seriously really, really good. I think in probably not the Oscars, because Oscars is probably not going to acknowledge this movie all that much. But maybe some other, like, smaller award shows, I think this should win. So at least get nominated for some technical awards. Like production design, cinematography, VFX, like...
Some great stuff.
I don't know. Maybe even costume and hair. I know people have had some gripes about Sue's hair, though, but I don't know if it's all that accurate, but it looks pretty. The whole movie looks pretty.
Also, just to shout some of the other shows that he's directed 1 or 2 episodes in. He's done episodes for The Great, Succession, The Boys, Game of Thrones, a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I wouldn't have guessed.
Okay.
Fargo, which I know people really enjoy. Mad Men, New Girl.
New Girl.
Yeah, Ugly Betty. So a lot of
Her?
very popular shows.
Yeah.
That balance
Good for
ensemble
him.
really well.
Yeah.
So
Very good
I just
for him.
wanted to shout out Matt
Yeah.
and congratulate him on having a really great, movie
I
debut.
guess movie directorial debut.
Yeah. Just amazing work here. And I'm very excited to see what he does after this. I think I'm very interested to see how this performs. We'll talk obviously about that later, but I'm very, very interested to see how the MCU wants to keep him, where they might want to use his expertise. I think he did a great job on WandaVision. I'm surprised they didn't want to look at getting him on other shows. But obviously the move to movies here was huge.
Yeah. I hope they keep him on. Like the X-Men guy.
Yeah. The one who directed the Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts.
Jack
Yeah.
Schrader?
Not Schaefer, because that's also Wanda. I forgot his name. Anyways, but the guy who directed Thunderbolts is also going to direct the
Jack Schrader, yeah.
Yeah, X-Men movie that they're eventually going to make.
Which is very exciting.
Who knows when, but...
And that had a very unique aesthetic to it as well. I'm very, very excited to see what aesthetic he kind of wants to go for the X-Men. We did hear that they're officially going to be a very young cast, which, frankly, I know some people were not excited about. Frankly, I'm ecstatic about because...
Me too. Yeah.
Like, it's...
I hope this means Glenn Powell's not going to be Cyclops, I think. People were saying either Cyclops or Gambit. I forgot who they were fan casting him of, but I don't want him as either, quite frankly. So sorry, Glenn Powell. I love you and other things.
I don't know, because there's the first class. I'm very interested to see where they start too, because there's the first class, which is like when the main cast is very young. Yeah. And then there's the part where they're like the teachers and the older kids, and then there's the whole school that's kind of there. So yeah, I'm very, very interested to see where they want to start that story at whenever they start it. Yeah. So very, very fun stuff. Unless you have anything to add, I think we can go on into our non-spoiler pros and cons.
I'm good. Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to get us started off?
Sure. I have a lot of pros. We both listed quite a lot of stuff. Yes. So, the first thing I listed was just Sue Storm, just by herself. She deserved her own point because she's amazing in this movie. I still stand by. I think she's very much the heart of not only this group but this movie. How they handle her being a mother as well, I think is so important and beautiful. I also appreciated the detail, or rather lack of, that nobody ever really questioned her fighting when she was pregnant or like with the baby or whatever. I don't know. I think that's underrated and I appreciate that because it's Sue Storm. Pretty sure she can handle herself. So pretty sure she's good. Yeah, but absolutely. Anyways, I don't know. I think she's great in this movie. Trying to think anything else I could say non-spoilery. She's very, very powerful in this movie. They do not nerf her whatsoever. And Russo brothers, I will literally come for you so hard if you nerf her in Doomsday. I will kill you. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I won't kill you. But like, oh my God, I will kill you in my mind and my dreams and my nightmares if you nerf her in the next movie. I will be so mad. Half a star for Doomsday if she's not as powerful in the next two movies. So fair. Anyways, yeah, because she's always been the most powerful of the group. So, and they make that very clear here. So I appreciate that. Anyways, I also like that she's kind of the leader of the Future Foundation. I think that's very fun. Yeah, she's very much like the leader of the group, and she's leading the politics. She's leading like the negotiations. They talk about her negotiating with some of the villains that they fight, and you see that kind of progress later on. I'll put it that way. So I think that's very, very fun. She is great. I also put Johnny Storm basically in his own point because I think he's great in this movie. I think he's funny, and I also really, really like that he is still very much like the classic Johnny Storm that most people know if you know anything about Johnny Storm. But he's also very smart in this movie. He does his own thing and he solves his own thing, and I think that's very fun. Because I don't know, it just makes sense to me. It's something I never thought about in the original, the fact that like they went to space, but like I like the detail that they're astronauts and then outside of that they're smart. Like it almost like validates that, like why they can go to space and like they really are that smart. They're not just like famous or whatever. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I like the VFX on, for the most part, on everyone's powers.
I would
And,
say
like,
definitely
design.
on Powers.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's like one very, very short scene of Reed writing something on a chalkboard where I'm like, that looks weird. It's literally like 1 or 2 seconds though, and I think it's because he has like a sleeve on.
He has a shirt that like stretches with him, which
Yeah.
is why that scene looks so weird.
Which is interesting. I wonder if the suit design kind of, maybe why it was simple. I wonder if it was because it would be easier to then do the powers that way.
Sure.
You know, like a lot of the MCU suits, a lot of people say are over-designed with all the extra like lines and squiggles. These are very much not. And I think that's an aesthetic choice, but also I would have to imagine that would be a choice to help the VFX workers as well. Because it's a lot easier to stretch something when it's solid versus like all these squiggly lines then you have to account for. So, yeah, I think it looks great. I think they show off everyone's powers or designs a good amount. Like, I feel like nobody's really lacking in that space. Yeah, I don't know. And whatever VFX they used for the space scene and however they did that, because this is talked about on Twitter, so I can say this, and it's in the trailer as well. Galactus at some point walks in the city, so I think that's really cool. And they talk about how they just had him like walk through like his own life-size city thing, and I think that's really cool. I think we should go back to doing things like that more often in movies because it looks great.
Yeah, the use of practical effects is like so great.
Mm-hmm. I just
and people are so like people love practical effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like and it improves the quality so much.
Yeah. Like I get sometimes I've heard like they're more expensive sometimes, but I think in certain situations they're worth it because at the end of the day a lot of times they look better. So there you go. Let's see what else. The cinematography, especially in space, amazing. I was like they should win awards for that space sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But just the color grading and the cinematography throughout the entire movie, I think, is overall like really good. And I would say it's one of, if not Marvel's best looking movies, personally.
Sure.
So, skip that one. I'll skip that one, I guess. Oh, I love the Thing being so loved. I think that's really fun. Ben deserves that. I still kind of want to see maybe an arc from him of some sort. Whatever they want to explore within that. But I do love that the people love him so much. Like when it was Halloween, how all those kids were dressing up like with his mask and everything. Oh, that's just so I love that, like what in the original Fantastic Four, how they explored like he felt like a monster and some people treated him like a monster. I love seeing him so beloved in this movie. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Kind of already said that one. Reed is very smart and clever, and I just put that because, I mean, duh, but like, they show it off really well in this movie, like way better than any other versions. It's like constant throughout this movie. His brain is always on. He's always thinking of all the possibilities. I think they explore that well, how that hurts him in some ways, and that hurts his relationship with his friends and family as well. The way his brain works, but he just like can't turn it off or like won't turn it off. I think it's fun that they point out that he struggles with things that you wouldn't think someone as smart as him would struggle with. I want to save the examples for the spoiler part.
I will say, I think it
it's
can
a
be
fun
said.
reveal.
I think another part I really like that is highlighted here more than anywhere else is that Reed is one of the smartest people alive, if not the smartest person alive in this universe.
Yeah.
But he still can't, like, really handle people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really great thing in this movie, especially because people is where Sue is so great at.
Yeah.
So, you know, it further adds into the idea that they're a power couple, that they, like, you know, are the better halves of each other. I think those two aspects
Yeah.
go in hand. Sue's still smart.
Yeah.
And, like,
all
but
of them
the
are
idea
smart.
that her strength is in, you know, how people work and how to make connections and relationships work, and his is in, like, everything else.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great choice here.
I agree. I think there's a line of something he says to Sue that perfectly encapsulates what his character is. And then Sue has like a speech that she gives at some point that I think is perfect for her as well. And it shows the differences between the two characters. Sorry, I'm trying to be vague. I don't know. I just want to talk about it in the spoiler section.
Absolutely.
Herbie. Love Herbie. Love the little lullaby. I just love his design. I love the little robot noises. Seeing the videos of him in Disneyland right now is so fun. I'm jealous. I need to meet Herbie. I already said Johnny's smart too. I'm gonna skip the last one.
Yeah.
Just as technically it wasn't in the trailer, even though
Sure,
what's
sure,
gonna
sure.
happen. But anyways, okay.
Absolutely. So my pros, it's gonna be a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I think the cast is so great.
So
Sarah Haley Finn, I think, is her middle name, but she's always credited as the caster for everything MCU. Once again, always
She
on top of
ate it
This
up.
cast is so great. Sue, I love showing that she is a leader, and like a global leader. There's a really great push to make sure that like the Fantastic Four, the first family for Marvel, they aren't the protectors of the United States. They're like almost like the leaders of a UN. They bring the world together, and they kind of, you know, because the 60s aesthetic is very, you know, 60s America, and that is not something that reflects how the rest of the world was at that time.
Yeah.
But they still represent the world, and I love,
Yeah.
you know, especially in this movie when your enemy is the devourer of worlds, the global approach, and the global connection there. It's almost Elio-like in that way, which I think is a very fun choice. But loved her use of powers, the whole choice to make her force fields look like refracted light is such
So
a great
pretty.
choice, and it makes the visual so stunning.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
And
there's
she still uses her invisibility, not like quite as much, but it's still definitely like, I don't know, probably like 5 to 10 times in this movie. I can
around
think of
that.
like
and I will say she uses
know.
her
at least
ability
5.
of invisibility more on other things than her,
Yeah.
which is a very fun choice. I remember in the 2015 version, there was a whole thing was like she can make other things invisible too. I was like, oh, that's cool. But then here they do it a lot more casually and a lot better with the visuals of like the light bending around whatever she's touching.
Yeah.
Coolness. Love it.
Yeah.
There's one scene particularly where she like goes into the invisibility and it like has the like
Yeah.
light refracting around her, almost like as emphasis as she goes into like the invisibility. So fun, so fun.
Yeah.
Ugh, and Vanessa Kirby is eating those effects. She's she's rocking them every time.
Totally agree.
Johnny, I think the effects on him look really great. There's a scene towards the very beginning, which I'm not gonna super spoil what it is here, but we see him use his powers like we've not seen him use in any other live action iteration. Which
I
is
wanna know
very cool.
I want to know what you're talking about. I have 2 that I can think of that I'm like, I think I know what you're talking about.
maybe. But,
Anyways, we'll talk about it later.
overall, his use here is very fun. He's such a, like, every time he's on screen, he's such, like, a burst of energy, which is very fun, because that's very his character.
Yeah.
And then his whole plot line, and him and his connection with the Silver Surfer has some of my favorite moments in this movie.
Yeah.
His art, his whole plot line is just very satisfying throughout this.
That dynamic was very surprising to me, pleasantly surprising to me. Put it that way.
Absolutely. Which, and you know what? I didn't think about this, but that's actually interesting given, like, in the last Silver Surfer appearance, whenever he has that connection with Sue, and this time it's with the other Storm sibling. Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting.
It's very fun.
Here we have Reed, and I like Reed a lot here as well. This goes for all of our main four cast. I think they're the strongest that we've seen these characters be, especially in live action.
Yeah.
With Reed, I like that he's doesn't have necessarily the charm of the other ones, and I like that this movie goes the distance to make sure you know that, like, he is the smartest person in the world, and he is not necessarily the better for it.
Yeah.
Like, he struggles with where he's at. I almost, one of my cons is almost that I wish they did more with the idea that him being the smartest person on Earth is a problem for him. I wish they leaned more into that.
Yeah, because they definitely, like, talk about it and touch on it, but yeah.
Because then the comics have also done some really interesting stuff with Reed Richards before the powers was already the smartest person on Earth, or one of them. But then whenever he has the ability to literally expand and stretch his brain so that he can have more synapses and more, like, capabilities of brain power because he can expand those, like, that is truly where his ability to, like, calculate things is unprecedented, because his brain can literally be as big as it needs to be to think things through.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that like Ben has repercussions to, like, the way he works now.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, that's not even something mentioned here, but I think that's something very important to the character. That just, like, the idea of his smarts being a hindrance to him in some way, that's definitely a part of his story here, and you can definitely feel that. But like I said, I think that he's one of those characters that needed more screen time. I'm glad he isn't as big of a lead here as he is in the other movies, because I think they needed to switch things up some way somehow.
Yeah.
But I do wish he was more... I wish he was here more. I feel like he easily could have been here more.
I don't know. It stinks because I do think, like, it makes sense for his character that he's always kind of, like, doing his own thing or, like, always in his lab or whatever. So he is in the background, and that's intentional. But then it is like, oh, but I want to see more of him, you know? Like, I want to see him come out of his shell, but then he's not a big people person. And so, yeah, I do think that change is really interesting. And I got it more and I liked it more on the second watch for sure.
Another thing you mentioned was the idea of approaching Pedro Pascal approaching this character as though he was on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very much in that same vein of the idea that, like, sometimes your brain, not necessarily is your worst enemy, but isn't always convenient.
Yeah.
And the way you connect with people is different, and the way you think is unperceivable to some people. I think that's a very great way to approach the character.
I absolutely agree, and it does improve my experience when watching the character, knowing that, because I feel like it's very, very obvious that he was probably playing it like that when there's a conversation that he and Sue have where Sue says something to him about how his brain works, and I think that's coming off to me very like this was intentional here. They're playing this a certain way. And also when he's giving a speech to the public and he reveals something that the first time watching I was like, why on earth would you reveal that? Second time around it's like, oh, like if you're playing it like that certain way, like I can see why you would, because it's more just like matter of fact. Like you're not thinking of like, you know, like of the emotion behind it. Like, should you? It's just like, you know this and you're revealing this. And then he's like, and then, because also in his brain, he's saying, of course we did it this way. Like, obviously. But then everyone else is freaking out. I'm trying to be vague, so this probably doesn't make sense. But we'll talk about it more. Spoiler section.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Moving on, Ben, I think the casting was genius. And then I love that he's truly the most grounded character, even though he's made of rocks the entire time.
Yeah.
I think that's super great. He's the one you see on the streets, you know, walking through the place he grew up, talking to people casually on the street, like, hey, how are you doing? How's the family? I think that's such a fun, you know, contrast, especially to where we've seen him in the other movies.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's loved. He's still the person that he was before the incident, and I love highlighting that. They do have hints of him, like, you know, feeling some sort of way about his transformation and seeing how he used to be.
Yeah.
You briefly see Reed talk about how he blames himself for that stuff that we have seen in these movies as the main plot of it, you know, over and over again. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the ability to skip over it. I like them showing that it's still there, because I think specifically with Ben's arc, that's something you can bring up whenever you need to.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's not something that needed to be here. I think for for this first introduction to this version of the team, I think it's stronger for not.
Yeah, because there is a lot happening, so.
Yeah, I like that this is a story for this team that we haven't seen in live action before.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll get into it more later, but Ben needed more. Like, he truly is the only character that doesn't have a clear arc throughout this movie. And you feel it. And you can feel that a lot of his stuff has been cut out.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
I don't know. It's just very weird to very clearly be able to indicate where and what has been cut out in this movie. But Ben is definitely one of those points. Silver Surfer, so great. The visuals on her, so great. Her scene when she comes down and warns everyone that Galactus is coming.
Yeah.
Amazing. Her connection with Johnny is like ethereal.
Yeah.
I don't know how best to put it. The way that she surfs on things is so cool. Every time she does it feels like an oh my gosh. Her ability to warp through things like it's nothing is so cool. She's like such a character that's like, I don't want to say added in post as like detrimental, but she's like so disconnected from everything else so purposefully because she has such a like tangible role in the horribleness that's happening.
Yeah.
That like she even talks about like, you know, when you do horrible things, hopefully someday you'll be able to forgive yourself for it. And like you can see that so much in how she's so detached and the way she talks to people.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get to see that kind of come down a bit, and that makes those moments even more like impactful. It's everything they do with that character is just so well done here.
Yeah, I agree.
Galactus, we talked a lot about him. He looks great. He's used great. The practical effects on him, amazing, spectacular, flawless.
Well,
never been done before.
He doesn't talk almost at all, but when he does, I think the line deliveries are really good as well.
His voice is so great.
Yeah. There's one in particular I want to shout out later, but not right now. So.
And Herbie, great inclusion. Having Herbie be in this movie is like having Crypto be in the Superman movie. And it's like why have we not done this before? This feels obvious. It feels like a really fun inclusion, but no one's done it before. So another great call.
I agree.
Great visuals, an MCU standout, and I love the visuals of the MCU. I would say this and like the first Doctor Strange are very close to my mind when I think of like some of the best visuals throughout this movie. I would say like maybe the best consistent visuals, because every MCU movie has its moments where it's like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Frame this in a museum somewhere.
Yeah.
But this one definitely has some of the most consistent. Maybe some other ones I would think. I don't know. What are some other ones that?
I mean, some of the Guardians movies, like
Yes,
obviously
Guardians.
gorgeous.
I would say one in too maybe more
The Black
specifically.
Panther movies, especially like Wakanda
This-
Forever
like,
has some moments.
Yes, the visuals of like the different like of Wakanda and like some of
So
its wide
good.
shots.
Mhm.
Some of the shots of Talocan are really great. I agree.
I personally really liked some of the visuals in Eternals. I know that's an underrated movie.
No, absolutely.
But,
The visuals, no one can tell. Like, no one can speak with their chest and say that the visuals are
Yeah.
not phenomenal in that movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. Do you remember whenever people were talking about Galactus possibly being a celestial?
Yes.
Interesting. And I will say he's something comparable to those.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that he's his own thing here still. I don't think I would have hated the idea of him being a celestial. With the idea that how many space gods are there? But I enjoy him being his own thing. He always was in the
Yeah.
comics. He's truly being unto his own.
I feel like I'm missing some, but like some visuals in like other movies.
I think
I don't know. Oh, like
I would think some of the like establishing shots of Ragnarok are really pretty. I would say not thoroughly.
I was gonna
throughout.
say in Love and Thunder, like any of the like the black and white sequence, I think was really stunning.
Visually, yeah.
And then I think towards the end when they meet like the godlike
Eternity.
character, yeah, I think that was really cool. It has moments in that film where it's pretty. And then you have the floating head kid that everybody uses now. So
That poor kid.
they even fixed it a little bit and it still doesn't look that great. So anyways.
So yeah, definitely a standout. The score is super great. The
Yeah.
score whenever you have the Silver Surfer, whenever they're meeting Galactus. And then the iconic
Yeah, the score
it's
is
so
so good.
good. Ugh.
So
like
good.
true. I don't know.
When
I
the
feel,
Silver Surfer first shows up, oh my gosh, her score is so cool.
Ooh, here's a question for
Thanks.
you: the score or the Superman score?
Superman. Unfortunately, it's just like the Superman score just like fills you with so much hope.
Ugh.
Oh my
I don't know.
god,
Like,
it's like so perfect.
I will say, I feel like it's been a bit of a slow year for movies. That I feel
Yeah.
like both of these one or both of these movies need to be in the running for score because they're just so
No,
good.
like actually, because, maybe
So-
this is how we get our Sinner sweep. Maybe the Oscars have to acknowledge, like because I've been saying like I'm scared it's gonna get the challengers treatment, but it's like it's been such a slow year. Like maybe they have to acknowledge it, and if that's the way it gets acknowledged, fine.
So be it.
So be it. It shouldn't be that way. It should be a crowded year and still get acknowledged. But anyways,
The powers, I think all of the powers look really great. Sue is a huge standout.
yeah,
Reed only has one moment where it looks weird.
yeah. I feel like the
but
others
everything
look
else
really
looks so great. Thing never looks bad for a second. There's one caveat to that, which I'll get into in my cons.
good. Yeah, but that's not really him.
But that's not even him.
Yeah.
It's not even him that looks bad. He just happens to make something else look bad. But whatever.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
And then Storm, Johnny's powers look really great. There's
Oh, yeah.
one part at the very beginning where it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Space looks really great. It has a very interstellar aesthetic. And then the 60s future aesthetic, like I talked about, very Back to the Future 2. I think the contrast between those two things work really well, and I think it's very intentional.
Yeah.
That, like, one's very bright, one's very, like, warm, and the other's very cold. It's very dark. And then you have, that part where Galactus is on Earth in that aesthetic. And I think the mix works really well.
I agree. Sorry, I am listening. I promise.
And then I really like the themes here. I think a lot of people are saying it's it's the same to Superman. I would say at best they're comparable.
Yeah.
Because Superman is a lot about, who are you? You get to decide who you are.
Yeah.
And you get to, bring hope.
Kindness is the new punk rock.
Kindness.
Love that. I love that line.
Absolutely. And then this one, it's a lot about change. It's you know, and I can see how those things are very comparable, but I think there's a very clear differentiation for me between the two.
Yeah.
This one is a lot about, you know, change will always happen. People will always want to say that that things won't change, that they'll be able to anticipate change and deal with it on their terms.
Yeah.
And that's just never going to be the case. You never have the amount of control that you want in life. But it's not about controlling change. It's about dealing with change, how you deal with change, the family, the community around you, and finding ways through others to get through stuff. Finding your rock, your Ben, you know, your energy with Johnny, your glue, your heart with Sue, and then like your brains with Reed. I think they all have very unique aspects to their family, and it's kind of like, you know, all of the glue that like you should have in like a family or a community, and then the idea of like that connecting beyond, you know, your blood and the people that you like call your family and your community and your world. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff they explore with that, and it's almost like the global like like the Kennedy line. Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. They kind of expand that into like the global, which I think is a really great idea. Yeah. And I think it's done very well here.
Can I shout out also something real quick about The Incredibles?
Yes.
Because The Incredibles were heavily inspired by the Fantastic Four, not the other way around. Obviously, The Incredibles movie was a lot bigger and basically came first, even though there technically is an older Fantastic Four. But I know because I watched Queen Grace Randolph, and in her video she was comparing the two and talking about like it's interesting how in The Incredibles something so fun about that is that they are different. They're not normal people, but like they have to they kind of are in a way, like when they're not their superhero persona. And then she's like, I wonder why the Fantastic Four is not like that. And I think the big difference with the Fantastic Four is like in the Incredibles world, they needed to hide their identity because of what was happening in like the political climate of people talking about superheroes at the time. And Fantastic Four is quite the opposite. Like people love them because they're superheroes, because they save them, because they are so heavily involved in what's going on in the world. So it's like they don't need to hide their persona. And I mean, as far as we know, at least in this version, they were never interested in that. Yeah. They're very high profile. And so it's not like an abnormal family trying to be normal and trying to function normally.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's very, very different in that way. Like they are a different family, but I don't know how to, like, they're not trying to be normal. They're trying to find their version of normal.
And that's a great way of putting it. I was going to say something very much along those lines, where it's like, you know, Incredibles is trying to fit the typical family mold that they're being told they need to, and then, you know, here they have no interest in fitting any mold. They're just trying to, you know, find what works
how
for
they
their
function.
family.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, very well put. And I will say, that does remind me, the last shot of the Fantastic Car is so giving the Incredible Mobile. I had that same thought both times that I watched that movie.
Okay, I can't. I'll have to save what I want to say for later. It's fine. It's a little bit of a spoiler, so.
And then when we get into spoilers, there's some scenes I want to shout out as some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god, there's so many great scenes here.
Yeah.
But I think that brings us into our cons. Do you want to get us started?
Sure.
Still non-spoiler cons.
Okay, I don't have as many. And actually, I have not updated this since I watched it the second time. So I might tweak these a little bit. But originally, after the first watch, I said Reed is a very hard character to nail. And he's definitely still, I said he was definitely still hard to like, but I mean more like connect to. Because he's so much less personable than the other three. And that's still true. Like, he's still very much not a people person compared to the other three. But I did, once I kind of understood the way his brain works and found that, like, understanding and patience and empathy, like, I understand it more. So I don't have, like, a problem with it anymore. And actually, I kind of like it. I just have to, sometimes you just take a minute to, like, understand people and how their brain works. Sometimes, like, when you don't really know, it can be frustrating. But then when you know how their brain works and you know it's not, like, necessarily them being bad intentioned, like, then it's a lot easier to have that patience and actual likability. So I don't know, it's still like he still definitely is the weakest of the four for me, but I would not say that he's weak.
Sure.
If that makes sense. I would say he's still good. So still
Yeah.
some fun things.
Still
And
good.
still good. Although, like, that just makes it even more ridiculous, the headline that people were saying he's going to be the head of the Avengers in Doomsday. First of all, I read that article and nowhere in that article was that said. So that headline was, like, actual, like, just a lie straight up. And I hope it's not true. So I don't think it is, because didn't say that in the article, but yeah, I really hope that's not true, because I can't fathom what that would look like, honestly.
Very fair.
Sure, I can see him, like, calculating all these things like he did in this movie, finding the possibilities, finding the way outs, finding the solutions. But, like, Sue's very much going to be, like, the, okay, people, let's work together kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, whatever that's going to look like in that movie. I also said I wanted more Thing and Johnny. I actually, upon rewatch, think Johnny has a lot of stuff going on. I don't know why. I mean, I still want more of him, just because I love Johnny so much and I think he's great. But I think the Thing is the only person or character that's lacking in screen time and character arcs. So I just want more of him, and I do worry what that's going to look like, because there's so many characters in Doomsday
That's a
and
great
Secret
point.
Wars. It's like
This was your time to, like, get that started, and now
Yeah.
you're going to have 2 or 3 movies to buffer before he
Yeah.
actually gets a time to, like, shine as his own character.
Yeah. So, anyways.
That's fair.
And then, because they cut a scene. Well, anyway, I can't say that. It's fine. Can't say that. I would like to know a little bit more about the lore of Galactus. I can't really say more than that. I mean, I'm not, like, in a rush to know more, I guess. I can't say anything. It's fine. I really can't, like, finish my thought because it's a spoiler. So, anyways, I just want to know more about him. I think he's a very interesting character. So,
I will
Anyways.
say, I don't think even I know that much more about him, even though I find him as a very fascinating character, and I've
Yeah.
really liked him for a while.
yeah.
I think he's always just kind of regarded, like, very Celestial-esque, where it's just like, yep, and this is one of those guys out there, and,
Okay.
just pray he doesn't come to your planet, because
Yeah.
that'll suck.
Yeah. So,
So I will
anyways.
say, I think, like, it's always the heralds that get a little bit more attention on, because like,
Yeah.
he's almost like, maybe not necessarily mindless, but this, like, unstoppable force that constantly gets stopped. But
Yeah.
it's definitely what he's supposed to be, like, perceived as, and then it's like the real, like, depth comes from. So why are you helping him?
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of the depth around him comes from. I almost like the idea that he's one of those unstoppable forces. In the context of this film, that's very comparable to Change.
Yeah.
The idea that you can't stop him, but that there's going to be the people who literally drive him to you. You can, like, talk and reason around that. You can prepare, but it's not going to stop it from coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great and strong choice, actually.
Yeah. Very interesting.
That's all your
That's all
cons.
mine.
You didn't have any other ones?
No, just one that I really can't say till the spoiler section. So.
Sure. So I'm gonna start with my biggest one, and it's not a spoiler because you see him here and there.
Yes,
have
in the trailer.
Yes, you see.
You know
see
he's there.
the baby. You see Baby Fantastic.
Yes.
Not his name, but
I
I
feel
will
like
say.
we do. I don't know. I feel like they did say his name at some point, but maybe not. It's fine.
But the baby, for some reason, there's a good handful of scenes, and it felt a lot worse on my first watch than my second watch. That it just felt like the first watch, it just never felt like the baby was like actually in any of the scenes, which was very weird. Like, and
It is-
especially anytime Thing was holding him, the baby just looked like it was like filmed on a green screen and stuck in there.
Yeah.
Which feels like a bad choice considering you had a practical like Thing suit.
Yeah.
So it's very odd that it constantly just looks like he's VFX'd on top of the backdrop of the Thing's large body.
Yeah. Well, and I know I saw someone say, well, like, it could, newborns are not supposed to be around a ton of people. And, yeah. But some of the scenes, like there was one scene where they were far enough away where I feel like you could use like a doll. So you'd at least have like an actual physical something in his arms. And somewhat of movement. If you got more like a plushie rather than like a plastic doll, it would probably move a little more naturally. Some scenes, yes, like it's close up. So it's like, yeah, I gotta have to have a baby there or it's gonna look a little weird. But, yeah, that's hard, but I don't know.
I know on Twitter there was the main thing I was seeing in that vein was like people they're gonna try and pass this as like a 1 or 2 month year old, and it's like that's where it's like, nope, you don't want one of those in a movie set. That's unsafe for that baby.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like having like if you're telling me there's a baby there, I'll like as long as it is like younger than toddler, I'll buy its baby.
Yeah,
like no matter how old you're trying to pass that on me.
Yeah, I'm not really picky about that either.
I know that's where some people were trying to nitpick. For me, it's really just like a lot of the times it didn't look like he was meant to be there.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end in the third act, and other than that, I feel like there's almost just something about the way that baby looks. I don't know if it was like maybe touched to possibly make it look more like Sue and Reed.
Maybe.
Like the eyes specifically are just very like there's like blue eyes, very blue eyes, and then there's these eyes.
Yeah.
And like for some reason the eyes just feel very like I don't know if maybe they did visual effects to like make the baby look where they needed to. I could see maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
But ultimately on my second watch I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe that's just how this kid looks. And it's like, babies are babies.
Maybe babies just look weird.
Maybe babies are just weird.
No, like we were making jokes about like Renesmee. Not even that it looks like Renesmee, because it doesn't. It does not look
it's
near
not on
that bad.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's like they had a baby or a child and they like CGI'd a baby face on the face.
Yes.
Like cut it out in a circle and pasted it on. Like it looked so bad in Breaking Dawn Part 2. It does not look near that bad
For
here.
here, it more gives
It's
they
more
just
just the
never had a
eyes.
like there was a real baby used for the footage, but it was just never on set the day that they were filming the scene we're watching.
Yeah.
And not always. I will say it looked a lot better to me the second time for whatever reason, and it was on the same screen. So I don't know where. Maybe I just was able to anticipate it and look closer at it, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways.
That's a phenomenon. Other issues I had is that I don't know if I've ever so clearly seen a film with so much on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it's like the movie is missing things.
Yeah.
And like things that definitely needed, specifically for Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot more to have been done with Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even a whole lot more. I don't think this movie needed like even up to like an extra 30 minutes. Like I think you like said like an extra like 10
minutes?
to 12
Yeah.
minutes,
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 would have really done a lot to round out this film.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it really should have.
Well, someone on Twitter described it really well, how I feel about it, where like this one versus Superman, because I think a lot of people are saying both could use like 15 extra minutes or so, but I feel like they described it kind of like where Superman works really well with what we got, but just because it was so much fun, I wanted more, maybe like 10-15 minutes more of footage between some of the ensemble characters or whatever. While as the Fantastic Four felt like it was a good film, but it felt like it was missing 15 minutes it needed, rather than just you want more 15 more minutes. So I think that's a good way to describe how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, which is why I do think Superman is like overall more my favorite of the two, but I still
it's
think
definitely
this is
higher
good.
on like my movies of the year list.
Yeah.
I love both. I
Yeah.
truly love both.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't have to pit two queens against each other.
No.
But I will say, I think a lot of the problems I have with Fantastic Four First Steps,
Yeah.
which believe me are few and far between. My
Yeah,
list
yeah,
is
yeah.
basically almost
Still
over.
really good. Yeah.
But it feels like a lot of them come from studio intervention or studio feedback to what this
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
original film that Matt Shackman and his writer team
Mm-hmm.
envisioned this movie being. Especially having finished and watched the studio, it's so crazy to look at like
Yeah.
how these movies were made and like the conversations being had about them and how insane some of them are.
Yeah.
But and I've seen a lot of people talking about how like following phase 4 of the MCU, like these studio executives are scared to have a like over 2-hour
Yeah.
superhero movie, and I think
That's not like an Avengers movie or something
Yes.
cute, or Spider-Man or something like that's almost for sure gonna make $1 billion.
and I think
or
that's
more.
such a detriment to storytelling inherently. Like believe me, I think especially like for over the last 2 years, there have been plenty of movies that I've watched that did not need to be 3 hours or even as long as they were under that.
Yeah.
But I think you have to like acknowledge your product and be like, is there enough story here to fill up the runtime that's being asked?
Yeah.
And respectfully, there's a lot of, you know, highly recognized and very like award heavy movies where I would with my chest say the answer is no. There is not enough content here to warrant this movie being as long as it is.
Yeah.
This is not one of those movies. Like, as long as you have
No.
substance, as long as things are moving, as long as things aren't dragging, like, your movie can be as long as it needs to be.
Yeah. Like the Avatar movies, like there's just so much that is filled in those stories. Like it's crazy that the second one's 3.5 hours, but it's like there's a lot of things they're doing here. So it's like, yeah, 3.5 hours. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Not that I'm saying those movies are like great, but I think they're fun. I think they're good. I think they're entertaining, and I do think that they earned their runtime. Personally, at least more than some other movies.
for sure.
So, but like people were saying, I don't know where this came from, so I don't know how credible it is. But I saw at one point that the original runtime for Fantastic Four was going to be around like 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is about like
Why would that not
15 minutes
like
more.
I would say this movie, like considering it's a recognizable team that every general audience member has
Yeah.
heard of before, like I think this movie easily could have warranted like a 2.5 hour runtime.
He's licking my hand.
Like just inherently as
Yeah.
like if I'm a studio executive, hey, I've heard of this before. I would like be interested to see what it looks like. Oh,
Yeah.
here's what the trailer looks like. Incredible. Every trailer has
Yeah.
blown up the internet. Sure, have it.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It makes me wonder if like Thunderbolt scared them off. I don't know. But also they didn't advertise that movie as well. And you made a really good point that they're not near as much as of like a well-known or well-loved team versus like Fantastic Four.
sure.
So I don't know. It's hard to compare the two, but I can kind of see how the studios might compare the two, you know, because
Well, just
they
like
might get lost
lumping
in
them
that.
together as,
Yeah.
you know, superhero genre. When,
Yes.
you know, yes,
Yeah.
they're in the superhero genre, but,
Yeah.
you know, you can't compare your Supermans with your Ant-Mans.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Don't give an Ant-Man movie the same budget as a Superman movie, kind of thing.
Sure. Absolutely.
At least not at first.
So it's just interesting. And then also in the same vein, the idea of like, oh, what are we going to cut out? What do we need to do to see about the Thing? The Thing is cool. The Thing is a rock man. That's all people care about this character. Feels like that's why, unfortunately, he's the one that's sacrificed.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the actor as much, so we don't need to see him as much.
Yeah.
We're going to cut back on VFX, which is probably a big part of the
Yeah,
reason he was
that's
the one
true.
cut, which I think sucks.
Because Matt Shackman did say, because people were asking for like a director's cut, and he's like, you're not getting one because of VFX. Like, there's too much VFX that would go into it you're never getting one. So I appreciate that he said that, like, point blank, like, I'm so sorry, don't hope for that,
I
though.
feel like these deleted scenes, whenever this comes out on DVD, is going to, like, hit different.
Yeah. I want to see if they put any deleted scenes on either Disney Plus and or the DVD.
Because I was talking about, because I
I'm gonna
realized
get my
that
hands on it
before
one way or another.
After we watched it the second time, I realized there's that like old man from the trailer that was completely cut out of this.
Yeah.
And he was in like one of the first posters that came out for it. So I was very surprised to
He was
to
totally
see that.
cut. Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine where the hell he fit into this.
Yeah. And then, like, I don't know if this is not really a spoiler. It's about the Johnny thing, the clip that they cut.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. They cut from the trailer people's, like, favorite clip of Johnny after he touches the board and she kicks him off and he's, like, slowly falling.
He has
That
his,
shot
like,
is so
"Ooh,
pretty."
what'd you say?
Right. But, like, why would you cut that? That's like a 3-second clip.
And people
It's like-
love it. It looks so good.
Yeah, and my other gripe is in Superman when in the trailer, she's like, Superman. And he, like, leans forward and is like, Miss Lane. But they shoot that in the movie at a different angle, and I hate it. I want the angle when we can see him. Look at her. But anyways, it's not quite the same because
No.
they still have, like, that.
Speaking of, I'm actually also so upset that they cut out whatever, like, the line from, like, the first trailer where it's like, everything's different now.
Yeah.
Ben didn't used to be made out of rock. Johnny didn't used to catch on fire. And you didn't used to be invisible. And then she has that amazing line where it's like, Ben has always been a rock. Johnny's always been him. And it's supposed to be a hothead. And I'm right here. What a great line. And that would have, I would have loved, and I probably would have teared up to watch that in theaters in context.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then they cut, like, a scene. I don't know what's happening in the scene because it's a very brief clip. But they cut some sort of talk or interaction between Sue and Ben.
And
I want to know what that
would've been
is.
So great. I also will say, in the context of all of the other Fantastic Four movies, this is also the movie that focuses on Reed and Ben's relationship the least, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because their dynamic is the reason Ben's even here to begin with.
Yeah.
At least initially.
Because, I mean, he does say, like, my best friend. He has the clip, best pilot, and then Ben's, like, best looking.
too.
He has, I can't say that one because that's a spoiler. But let's just say he brings Ben in an important moment that I think is very intentional.
There's so many great uses of Ben throughout here, but I think there's only, like, one scene where they share specifically in the context of, like, present day this film.
Yeah.
And it's a great scene. It's just considering how important that relationship is in all of the other movies.
Yeah.
So it's all just very interesting.
So that is interesting.
And then Reed's also slightly on the back burner. I have a really great pitch for what I think should have filled up a lot of his arc here. And I only say should have because I fear that, unlike Ben, this is something that needed to happen specifically in the context of this film, so therefore we can't get it as well later.
Okay.
And I'll get into that when we get spoilery. And then I have an issue with one of the post-credit scenes. It's blowing up the internet, and it's exciting, but I already take issue with where it's heading.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll get into that in the spoiler talk. But any other non-spoilers before we get spoilery with it?
I don't think so.
Alrighty, so that being said, we're going to get into our spoiler talk. You can watch Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters right now. It came out this weekend. What are you doing? So you have been warned.
Get on that or stay off Twitter.
3, 2, 1.
Franklin!
Oh my gosh, Franklin, and he's Space God, which is comic accurate. He's supposed to be like a interdimensional being, and he's the one who kind of fixes the universe after it's torn to shreds after Secret Wars.
Okay.
So he's the resolving piece of that.
Okay.
So we'll see.
we'll see
I think
there.
I think it's also not ironic that 3, 2, 1 Doom is looking at him with his eye. He's doing the I see you with him with the mask off.
And Franklin's doing the Renesmee like touch the face thing. God, like there's like connections. There's too many connections.
It's
there.
like the Tilda Swinton as the ancient one with Doctor Strange. It's like boom. He's like being thrown through the multiverse.
Oh
It's
my
good.
God.
So,
But
I feel like we have some specifics to get into. I want to
Yeah.
go right off of what I was saying not a second ago with Reed.
yeah.
And I know I've talked to Cole about it. I don't know if you heard my pitch about it yet. I think you have. With the idea of Reed being so stressed out about having the kid, he finds out that Sue's going to have a kid. And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, we have so much to do."
Yeah.
And specifically with the way his brain works in this movie and the way they try and highlight the idea that he always thinks of the worst thing and he's always planning and he's always preparing for the worst. And I like the idea that there's this unspoken idea that, you know, he's always, you know, kind of off on his own in his own like little panic bubble, and then it's Susan and it's not Reed, and Ben that kind of like bring him back as the heart and the rock.
Yeah.
And then there's Johnny, who's, you know, the brother-in-law. And obviously they still care about each other, but they have such a fun, different dynamic. But I love that he has the family that like brings him back from, you know, going over that edge.
Yeah.
And I wish there was almost an emphasis on him having that freak out. And like that's where that line would come in from the trailer. It's like, I'm right here. Ben has always been a rock. Johnny's always been like this.
Yeah.
And like we're a family.
Yeah.
Not in spite of, but because of. And like the idea that it's almost everything everywhere all at once ish, where it's like whenever you're able to perceive every outcome and you can see everything that can and will go wrong. How do you like focus on what's important?
Yeah.
It's like you know, your family and the things that do keep you grounded and the things that do, you know, calm you and love you and embrace you. I feel like there's a very powerful comparable to Everything Everywhere All at Once in that same vein, and feeding into that idea of like family is what gets you through change. I feel like that was missing here, and I feel like it wasn't thought of. I feel like it was just cut, which is really unfortunate.
You know, and also with Reed, there was something else I was going to say. I forgot. Oh, well, kind of like different than what you were saying, but it involves Reed. It's the opening scene with him and Sue. I love that scene so much. I love like the millions of details that happen in that scene. I love Sue having her own moment to realize what's happening and be excited about it. I love her smile in that scene. It's so sweet.
Vanessa Kirby's face acting throughout this movie is incredible.
Yeah. And then she has her moment where she's even like the smartest man in the world still can't find something in his own house. It has to be his wife who finds it. But I kind of love that detail because it's such like a universal experience of like, you've lived here just as long as I have and you don't know where it is, but I know where it is. Okay. But I love that even the smartest man in the world also
lost his yellow iodine.
Yeah. So I think that's funny. And then they have like the moment together where he's realizing and you're like, ooh, how is he going to react? And at first you think like maybe he's not going to react well because he seems like, but wait, what? Like, because it doesn't make sense to him because they tried to have a kid for a long time, which I think is also an interesting detail that, again, smartest man in the world. And still, like, some people at the end of the day, like, there's no amount of money or science or knowledge in the world that can, unfortunately, like make people who want a kid have a kid sometimes. Like, sometimes it's just the way it is. But then he's like, you know, like, we stopped talking about it a long time ago. I love the line when then he says, but this is better, or something like, I forgot what leads
We
up
were
to
gonna
it.
be, and we were okay with that.
But this is better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I love that line.
It's such a sweet moment between two really talented actors.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I love that opening scene. I think that really starts off what their dynamic is very well. So.
Yeah, and I think it's also very interesting. We were talking whenever we both had seen it, and we were talking about like how it feels like Sue's movie to you.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, because it like starts with her, and I'm like, well, if we're talking
Technically,
specifically,
it starts with her.
starts with
and
Franklin being conceived. So this is his movie, and then
Technically,
he's the one who
like-
saves her life at the end.
Like Good Luck Charlie, with
Good luck, Franklin.
it being basically about Charlie because all the videos were for her.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But it's
No, for real, good luck, Franklin. Like, you're about to go through it, so.
well, he's Space God. He'll be fine, probably.
So we'll see. Russo brothers.
But it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, where's his chair? Where's Franklin's chair?
But then
Anyways.
I also really like.
I actually wonder if he's gonna get a chair, like the kid actor, whoever it's gonna be.
I also
I do wonder.
think it's very interesting. Something I caught on the second watch
Mm-hmm.
was pretty early on, like whenever he's like studying the baby in, when he's in the womb.
I love
And
that.
there's that scene where it's like, hey, he's
shot
gonna be
as well.
okay. You would know if he was okay.
Mhm.
We're gonna be okay. Like Sue to Reed. And then
Yeah.
whenever it's the giving birth scene, it's reversed and she's
Flipped.
the one freaking out.
Mhm.
And that, I don't know, I love building into the idea that like, your relationships, like you're able to switch who the strong one is,
Mhm.
and like,
Be
the
each
idea
other's
that-
rock.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
I loved it being flipped and then being
Yeah.
able to immediately, be that for each other. I think that's
Yeah.
adding into that amazing relationship that they have that comes off as very strong.
Mhm.
Looking back at some of our pros, what are some more spoiler stuff?
Um.
The Johnny moment I really loved early on
Yeah.
is whenever he's like bringing in the flames from
That's
that
what I
huge
thought,
fire.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
giving Pyro from Deadpool and Wolverine taking the power off of the Human Torch, Chris Evans.
Oh, yeah.
But we've never seen Human Torch do that before, so I thought that was
That
a
was
really
really cool.
really cool use of his powers
Yeah. So, way to put out a fire.
by being
So-
the fire.
Yeah.
And I super love that whole intro to begin with. I love like seeing Reed fight the super apes. I thought that was very fun. The idea of him slingshotting back in.
It felt like, especially because the talk host was like narrating the whole thing, it felt very like cartoonish, and I love
Yes.
that.
His voiceover work was great.
That
on
was the most comic booky feel. I feel like.
which I think is also very
Maybe. One of the
intentional,
most.
because I remember the whole idea. And I remember some people having issue with some of the trailers, which are phenomenal. But
Yeah.
the people talking it down in whatever aspect they could find, with the idea that it like, oh, but this feels like super like unrealistic, and it's like it feels like they think that they're perfect, and it's like, no, because this is literally being narrated over a television right now, and it's how the public
Someone's hyping
perceives
them up. Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
the,
And also, like, is like, if we in this real world had someone come out and be like a god basically, and actually have powers and use them for good and save everybody and be kind to everybody and have a cool outfit, like, you can't sit here and tell me that we wouldn't like fawn over them as a society. I just don't believe you if you disagree with that. So I mean, I feel like that's totally realistic. And then it's also like the same thing with Superman. Like, everybody loved him, and then similar theme in both movies. Then there's like one thing that happens that people don't like, and suddenly everybody hates them. Everybody wishes them ill.
and I will say
like-
another similarity is that the response is both very much a fear reaction.
Yeah.
In both cases, I think it's done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also realistic on
Yeah.
how our society would react as well.
Absolutely.
So. especially right now with how quick we are to not verify things before we react to them.
Yeah.
Which, I've been guilty of that too, but like, yeah, sometimes you gotta like take a step back, especially with AI like on the rise. Like you gotta take a step back and be like, okay, what do we actually know about the situation?
But also in
And
both
then-
cases, like it's factual information being told
Yeah.
to them, so it's
And one of them especially is like verified, and then
You're in
this
danger.
one, yeah, in this one they're the ones telling
so I
them
know
that
you're
something's wrong.
angry. You're also not safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved Reed's line delivery the second time around once I understood how his brain is working. When he's like, we didn't give it to him, obviously, talking about Franklin. And it's just like, ooh, no. Read the room. No. Good sentiment. Because, yeah, in your brain, you're like, duh, why would we do that? But everybody else, like, I actually really liked that line delivery second time around. So, anyways.
No, absolutely. I went ahead and listed out some of my favorite scenes throughout this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go, are there any what scenes stand out to you?
Oh, well, obviously the space scene, but specifically when they're being chased, when they're leaving Galactus's ship thing, and they're being chased by the Silver Surfer through the wormhole.
Oh, so great.
So stunning. Score, visuals, acting, like the tension and
it keeps
stress.
building, and then they go in front of the collapsing neutron star.
Yeah. And then after that, once they finally lose her and Sue's giving birth, which, that does have a lead up, and that is part of the tension that's building. But then we get to, I like that we get to focus on that as they're like escaping just in general. No longer the Silver Surfer, but just in general, trying to get back to Earth. I love that scene. I think Vanessa Kirby absolutely kills that scene. And I also just like all the details between her and Reed as well. I like when she refuses to be strapped down, and like Johnny's like, okay, we're not going to do that. And then so Reed kind of holds her down by like stretching his legs. I think that's a fun detail, not only to use his powers, but it feels like realistic, like he would do that. It's a nice natural way to use his powers. So
I also think it's very sweet that Ben was the first one to hold Franklin.
yeah.
I think that's so sweet.
Yep. That's the detail I was talking about earlier. Between the two, it felt like they had talked about it, like it was planned, like that you would help. I guess I don't know.
Well,
like
he
it
calls
wasn't.
him off the ship, and like he has Kirby replace him so that he can come help with that.
Yeah, and it's fun because it definitely was not planned that Ben was gonna do that, because obviously didn't know that was gonna happen. They probably thought they were gonna have it in a hospital, like most people do. But it just felt so like he knew he could call on his best friend to do that, and I love that detail. And I also love that that means he must like know enough to know how to do that.
He's been reading the books.
So yeah, there you go. I love that detail, and also like just the detail of him being this such like big, hard creature, holding like this like little newborn.
I love how
I
gentle
love that.
they make him throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like whenever he like brings the cookies home,
Cookies
and he's
with
like,
2 fingers. Yeah,
I love seeing that like he's like obviously he's this giant, he's super strong. We see
Yeah.
that he's like the strongest that this character has ever been
Yeah.
live action.
and he uses that when he needs to, but like
But
that's
then
not,
he's still capable of being gentle.
Yeah.
Both like, you know, obviously with the way that he's able to still cook in a kitchen.
yeah.
But then like also it reflects how he is when he's like, "Oh, hey, how's your ma doing?" Like,
yeah.
He's such a New Yorker, and I think that's so cool.
I love that. I love all those details. I love I don't know really why it's hard to put into words. I've thought about it, but it's hard to put into words why I like it so much. But I think it's very like heartbreaking that when she gives that final push to get Franklin out, like she turns invisible. I don't know why. It just feels like almost she's like scared and like going within herself maybe.
Sure.
But also pain, you know, obviously, but I don't know, it just feels like she's hiding herself in that scene, and I don't know why that's so powerful to me, but it is.
I'd be very interested to see what the script says.
Yeah.
You know how scripts can be very descriptive of
Yeah.
and then they look out the window, and then
Yeah.
we see out the window, and we see the bright future that they're heading to, or something.
Yeah.
I really like the shot whenever they first get into the star, and you see them looking at each other with the star in the background, the collapsing black hole.
Yeah.
With the idea that she's giving birth. I think that's very powerful. I would love to see someone behind the scenes explain what does it mean her going invisible, because I think it's very up for interpretation.
I
the
agree.
idea that now she's a mother, so now the thing that's out of her invisible is what's important to her. There's the idea that when she comes back, she's back and she's looking at Reed, they're finally safe, so the trouble's gone.
Yeah.
It's a new start, reappearing as a mother.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting stuff you could interpret with that, and I think that's the most
Yeah.
up for interpretation scene, which I think is very fascinating.
I agree.
love when they choose to do stuff like that.
Yeah. I also like the detail when Reed is asking her to hide the ship for 30 seconds, and then he looks back and he's like, but after your next contraction, of course. It's such a matter of fact, oh, but after that, don't even worry. I know you're giving birth, don't even worry. It's, I don't know.
In that same vein, I love the she's going to be dilated she's going to be trapped and dilated in the time vortex. What how big of a dilation? Bigger than mine?
Yeah.
Hate that.
Oh, I missed that the first time around, and I'm so glad I caught that second time around. So
that's such a great line.
I also because I know Vanessa Kirby talked a lot about how she tried to put tiny little specks of malice in here, and I think it's most prevalent when the Silver Surfer's chasing them, and she says, "Johnny, kill her." It's a deeper voice, it comes within.
She's trying to take your nephew.
Yeah. And I love those details of, obviously she's still good and she's right for wanting to defend that, but that is her. It's almost instinctual to be kill her, take her off the board, because family's more important.
Literally off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, because the board is not part of the body.
I think it's important to highlight that the board is not a part of the body.
I
love that they kept bringing that up.
I love when he's flying next to her, asking her 2 whole questions. He's like, last question. No, he says last question, and I love that more because it's you've only asked one other question. He really, and it's a stupid question, so it's he really didn't have any other. What did you say to me? Is the surfboard part of your body? Equally as important questions. And that's so Johnny, and I love that. I love him. I love when
No, it went really well.
I love when Galactus locks in his eyes and makes her go
into labor.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's the moment I was like, oh shit, this guy's for real, oh my gosh. Ugh.
Oh, it's so cool. I love that whole scene. I love him coming out of the darkness, and then the eyes. I love how he could switch between the whole eye socket glowing and then the specific eye pupils being purple.
Yeah.
Loved that so much.
Yeah.
And then I love the casualness of him lifting his finger and being able to move stuff.
Yeah.
Telepathically. So cool. So cool.
Yeah. Very, very fun. Trying to think if there's anything else in that. I'm sure there is in that sequence. There's just so much to talk about because it's all great.
I love whenever it goes through the planet for the first time.
Yeah. And we see the planet being destroyed as well. I think a funny detail is during that whole birthing sequence, I was hella stressed about the fact that she still had her pants on and she was pushing, and I was like, girl, where's it gonna go? You got your boots on too, it can't go anywhere. She finally takes her pants off. I was like, okay, thank you. Why doesn't somebody because it's not on her. I'm more why is nobody untying her shoes for her and helping her? She can't even give birth in these circumstances. Oh my gosh.
How is a woman expected to give birth right now? What the heck, guys?
Like, but it's such a stupid, like, I just, like, fixate on things like that sometimes, but like, sometimes, I don't know what the line is, but sometimes when things are getting destroyed, like, cities, I get, like, actually stressed out, and it, like, hurts my experience of the movie, because I'm like, but, like, this is gonna take so long to rebuild, and I just can't think of anything else. I just can't, so,
Yeah.
anyways.
Any other scenes?
I'm sure. I like when Ben lifts the car.
That's very cute.
I like when Reed is talking to the kids and they're bored and he's like, who wants to see a big explosion? I think that's like a universal like science teacher experience. I also like on the ship when Johnny and Ben are like, okay, Reed, how are we gonna defeat him? And he's like going through all the specifics and they're like,
It's a guy in a ship. You can punch him.
yeah, and then they fist bump and he like Johnny flies back.
So
Ugh.
cute. I love their dynamic.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I obviously, since we're in spoiler territory, I love when Sue hears Franklin and that motivates her enough to push Galactus back, and not only push him back, but first she turns him and kind of like she like pulls on him and then he turns. But then she pushes him back to the portal, kind of a long way. I mean, and it's a big guy too, so it's, you know, even if it wasn't, like, that's a lot of effort. And I also like the detail that they basically didn't even question her when she said, like, save our son, even though they were obviously scared for her. Like, they kind of all understood what they had to do in that moment. I don't know. And then Pedro's acting when she was, like, dead for a second there, like, that was really sweet. I don't know. It's just all very good. I loved her face when she gives, like, the final, like, push of the force field to finish the job. I think that's really cool.
I like that it knocks her back, too.
Yeah, I like the Wanda, like, back bend. I saw on Twitter somebody's like, oh my god, Wanda, you have competition, girl. Like, you've got to basically, like, go back at this
truly.
point. Like, all the way. She bent back quite a long way. So did Wanda, but anyways, I think that's funny. Yeah, I like that in that moment they show, like, she's definitely the most powerful of all of them, because she always has been. So I like that they're actually showcasing that in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Some of my favorite scenes is even though we saw a decent amount of it in the trailer, I love the Silver Surfer warning scene.
Yes.
In the movie. It's still so chilling. The score that you don't hear in the trailer over it looks so good. The idea that she's waiting for all of the cameras to be on her and then she turns and, like, begins talking.
Yeah.
Oh, love that scene.
She's
so
done this
much.
before. She knows the drill.
I love the dialogue, like her monologue.
Yeah.
So good. I herald his beginning. I herald your end. And like
herald.
Galactus.
I love
And then
it.
I love, like, the effect on her voice sounds so cool, very
Yeah.
metallic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I
Yeah.
loved meeting Galactus. That whole scene is really great. I love the space birth and escape. The effect of her, like, surfing on the lava. The effect of her surfing on, like, the cosmic, like, bend of space.
Yeah.
Her surfing on, like, the rubble of planets being pulled into the star, and then her getting trapped in the visual effects of that whole thing looked.
The sound of her voice and the effects of her getting pulled back slowly, so cool. Very, very cool. So.
Absolutely. I loved. Oh, and then we have to talk about the. I want to introduce you to someone. The speech that Sue has. I love that scene.
Yeah.
I remember telling you whenever we were going into Superman, I think, but, like, it gives, like, some, like, Vera Farmiga vibes from, like, the Conjuring movies when she's, like, talking about, like, moral righteousness and, like, God is on your side because you have love. Like, it's giving, like, that kind of character, and it's, it works so well. And she has, like, a twang that I feel like I don't feel her having a lot of the rest of the movie, but, you know, it comes from such, like, a grounded and real place, and it's, like, such a vulnerable scene as well.
Yeah.
But I love that scene so much.
I also like that it showcases that, because I know some people are complaining you know, that the people just blindly follow the Fantastic Four, which is just objectively wrong. But also, I love that the little details like that speech that they show that they know her, like, and personal things about her life, to know her character more than just her superhero persona. Like, they know her as a person.
I think it's also very interesting with the Fantastic Four is, like, there isn't a separation between how they perceive these heroes and how they perceive these people. Like, it's one and the same.
Like, I think in the opening narration with the talk host, I think he says something along the lines of, you know, 4 years ago they became even more a part of our hearts or something.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't like they became a part of our hearts. It was like they just like got a hold of our heart even more or something.
They were forever changed, not only in their appearance but their place in our hearts.
Yeah. So I think that's a nice little detail. So
yeah, and I loved, and we have to shout out that amazing line. I will not sacrifice my baby for this planet, but I will not sacrifice
this planet for my child,
for my baby. Oh,
yeah.
They ate with that line so much.
Yeah. So, and I've also seen people being like, well, how can she know that? I think that's just more her saying, we're going to figure it out. Like, I'm not going to give him over to Galactus, but I'm going to figure out another way to stop him, kind of thing.
And another part of it is it reminds me of Avengers Infinity War. Whenever it's like, so we have to destroy Vision. And if we destroy Vision right now, everyone is saved. And Vision's like, my life can't be worth the, like, countless billions of lives that'll be saved if I die. And then Steve has that line where it's like, well, it should. And I love the idea that in her speech, she doesn't physically say it, but it gives the impression it's like, and we had the ability to, like, be a part of something bigger than ourselves and of something more because you guys are an extension of our family.
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't say it. I think they don't need to say it. The idea of, like, if he asked for you and you didn't want to go, we would be here.
Yeah.
And the idea of, like, we are all this one big family.
Yeah.
And expanding that furthermore into, like, the Earth is one big family. We're all on one team.
Yeah.
Essentially against this, like, metaphor for change.
Yeah.
I think it's all just so powerful. And then there's also a line similar in value to me where it's the talkover line talking about, like, we've never seen construction across the world on such an unprecedented rate.
Yeah.
Every country is being involved and working hand in hand with the Fantastic Four to save our planet.
And saving the electricity as well.
But I specifically love the line, never doubt that a group of determined citizens can change the world. In fact, they're the only things that ever have. Ugh.
What a line. What a line.
Great line.
Yeah.
So many great lines. The script is just so strong here. Other scenes, I feel like we're still on that, but worlds coming together. I love that whole sequence of the world working together to save itself. The Silver Surfer attack on all of the portal things
I
throughout the
love when
world.
you see her, like, open and it's like her power just, like, destroys it.
And
So
then
cool.
Follow up separate to that, I love probably my favorite scene is whenever Johnny confronts Shellabal and Ship plays her, like, the audio of all of the other planets, and it's like, I know who you are now. I know that you did what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But you didn't let all of these other planets go so that your planet could live, and you have to face that, and forcing her to come out of that front of, like, disconnectedness that she's giving.
Yeah.
And then that, like, talk of, hey, let me save my planet.
Yeah.
Like, she, like, escapes up to, like, the moon as the backdrop. Ugh. It's so good. And I think it's also very, very powerful. I think it's very similar to some of the stuff that's done much more explicitly in Superman.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, people's lives are in danger and you're trying to find ways around that.
Yeah.
And here I am trying to fix that. I think it's very powerful.
The challenge of, like, Green Lantern not wanting to get into politics, and And I also like that they acknowledge that he's kind of just making that up because he just doesn't want to do it. I like that the characters challenge him in that, because it's almost like this unspoken thing of like, sure, you don't have to get involved, but then people are going to die and you're a superhero and that's going to be on you. So you could stop it and then you're choosing not to. Like, it's not like you can't be disconnected from that. That is an active choice. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
very much appreciate that. They talk about that in both movies.
And then obviously I love the
So.
entire third act fight between the Fantastic Four and Galactus. I think that whole
Yeah.
scene is so awesome.
I love when he first comes down from his chair and lands in the water. I don't know why.
Oh, and then I
think
love
it's
when he
just so,
I love when he like side eyes Lady Liberty as well. I
Yeah.
think that's such a little fun. I'm so glad they kept that in because it's so funny.
because it has that moment of, is he just gonna like destroy it? But he doesn't. He's not like wasteful. He walks around the city and things get destroyed because he's
very
big.
mindful, very demure.
But he's not, he's not Godzilla, like, going around, like, waving his arms everywhere. He's not trying to, like, actively destroy things. That's not his goal. And I do appreciate that detail as well. I like when they try to trick him and it doesn't work, but he realizes what they were trying to do, and he says,
Yes.
"Clever little bugs." I love that line. I love that line delivery.
Oh my god! And
Oh
then
my
whenever
God.
Herbie like sees him like looking through the window and he like closes the thing.
So it's very, like,
And then
Star Wars
immediately-
R2D2,
it's
like,
so
oh my god.
droid-coded.
Yeah.
Oh my
Which,
gosh.
I mean, he is, but, like, I love his little lullaby. He's just so adorable.
It's
Oh
giving,
my god.
Like the vocals are almost like the. You want it?
It's good from Enchanted. I love that scene.
Oh, it's so good. I'm trying to think of what other spoilers we had.
I like Reed acknowledging that he's, like, self-aware that he's not normal, like his brain doesn't work
Yes,
like
that
most
scene.
people's. And that he even said, he goes as far to say, like, he doesn't want his son to be like him. And I think that's really sad and heartbreaking because he's so smart and, like, he is such an important part of the family. And it's so layered because it's like you understand why he's saying that because he has good intentions saying that, but it's also like, man, like, it's sad that you think that about yourself. I don't know. It's just very layered and it's very sad. But I do like that they left that in.
I love that scene. It feels almost like John Kent, where it's like, you get to decide who you are, and you get to tell me that whenever you're ready to. Would love to know if you were Space God, by the way.
Yeah, I love that line.
That'd be really cool, but I guess you're peeing right now. So.
Yeah, you're such a good boy or something like that. Like,
Ugh,
we're just like
yeah.
peeing and having normal bodily functions.
But I
think
really
that's
like that.
funny.
I feel like there was a missing arc to him getting to that point, which I think would have been beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But it's still a beautiful note to land on, where it's like, hey, you're my kid, you're gonna be yourself, and I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
To see it all. I
Yeah.
think that's
Very, very fun.
Ugh.
And I like Sue's line when Franklin brings her back.
he's
That
not
he's
like
not-
you. He's not
he's
like
more.
me. He's so much more. Ugh.
I also find it really funny that when she's dead and Reed kisses her and a tear falls on her cheek, I'm like, this is so tingle
Tangle-coated.
coated. I'm like expecting like yellow, and then it's like,
I was
like,
thinking the
score.
exact same thing.
I was like,
But it's
wait a
just
second.
Reed's arms stretching everywhere to look like the flower.
Oh my god. I like the detail when she does wake up when her eyes are all like bluish purple. Love that.
That one's very much giving like
Um,
Entity and Love's being brought back.
Yeah.
very
I kind of love that Franklin brought her back.
I wish
I love that it
wish it looked a
wasn't-
little more normal with how he ended up on top of her.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it couldn't be like a thing where it's like he's like maybe like being like pulled to her. I don't know. It feels like the idea that
okay.
they were just casually like, hey, put her on her.
Yeah.
Oh, should I put her on him on top of her? I'll put him on top of her. It's
Yeah.
also like I don't know. I can understand like the scene really works for me where it's like obviously he's gonna try and come back. I
Yeah.
love the idea that he's so smart enough that it gets to the point where like no one tells him that it's done.
Yeah.
It's like in his brain, like he can do the math and know when it's too far. And then Ben's immediately there after he realizes, and he just says the I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah.
But and then he says like he has that goodbye kiss for her. like that last kiss, and then he just puts the baby on her, and it's like that's where it's like.
Oh. See, I didn't mind because I felt like I could see him the whole time wiggling, like, basically, like, let me go, let me get to her. I will say, like, the CGI on that kind of looked weird, and I think maybe that's why it's off-putting. But I could see, like, the want in that. I just wish it looked a little more natural, but, I mean, I guess that would be hard to do. Like, the baby would just have to, like, wiggle in that scene, so.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think we covered the bulk. So I want
to talk about Mole Man.
Oh, right. Mole
First
Man.
of all, talk about like just like the Incredibles. He even has that drill. I saw it on the second time when they're in the tunnels. He even has the drill just like the very end of the Incredibles. And I'm like, come on. If they didn't own both of these things, somebody should have sued somebody. So they're lucky that because I mean, that's just like such a ripoff. But anyways,
I will say,
he wasn't a main, like, I guess neither one was a main villain, but in their respective
I
movies.
will say, Mole Man is also the one who typically, like, owns the giant underground monsters.
Okay.
Like, you see the Giganto fight, which is, like, one of the most iconic Fantastic Four comic covers ever.
Okay.
Like, you see it very briefly in that fight. Or the flashback montage early on to hear the Fantastic Four scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it was missing a little, like, hey, mind the giant monsters down here. They're friendly because I'm telling them to be friendly.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I do feel like now maybe that it was accurate to his character. I don't know. I'm not talking about accuracy because I can't verify whether or not it was. I can only say how I felt about his character, and I feel like I typically don't like characters that are like, and like basically what you said, and I'm holding them back because I'm telling them to. Like, they have this line delivery, and it's not just him as an actor. Like, it's a lot of people have this delivery within their characters, their bad guy characters. I just hate it. It's like so like fake, and I know it's supposed to come off like that, but I just don't. I like the more subtle performances, the more nuanced performances. I hate the whole like I'm acting confident but clearly I'm not. I will say I like the scene between him and Sue when Sue's like, Harvey, and he's like, I'm sorry, Sue.
It's the end of
like,
days. We gotta laugh.
It's like there's clearly some respect there, and I appreciate that because they do mention earlier in the movie that she's the one that negotiates with him for whatever, whether he went to prison or not, whatever his like sentence was, I guess.
I think it was like the setting up, like the establishment of Subterranea as like being its own sovereign nation.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's very on code for what she's doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I super love that. I think it's really funny that both movies, Superman and Fantastic Four, have the, hey, let's clear the city so we can have our final fight, and Subterranea is where they go instead of, I guess, Gotham or whatever his city they're moving into. I love all the jokes for Superman where it's like, do I see people evacuating into Gotham? Like, you might as well stay in Metropolis.
Yeah. I also will say, I know some people were complaining in Superman that they couldn't evacuate that fast. I don't really care because, again, it's a superhero movie.
The character.
Are we going to
really... The guy's flying.
Yeah. Are we really going to nitpick the timing there? The guy's flying and has laser eyes. Like, come on. Or heat vision or whatever. But I will say, like, if you're going to Point Blank Period cannot nitpick the evacuation in this scene because not only do they have time and preparation and they know it's coming and anticipate what's coming, but also, like, they're just going below the city, which I feel like would take way less time. Some people are evacuating, like we see buses driving away, but like you definitely cannot nitpick this version. So there you go.
Absolutely. Another scene I just remembered, and I caught it on the second time, the idea whenever they're like, we have to bring Galactus here, and then they're like, oh, how do we do that? And I remember Sue being the one that's like, we have to use Franklin. Yeah. And then...
But you see her figure it out?
Well, but because I didn't catch beforehand that Reed figured that out by looking at Franklin on the camera, so he figured it out first.
Yep.
He put it out loud, and he was like trying to think of another way to like do that, and Soup's
Yeah.
like, you already figured it out.
Yeah.
I love
think
that.
I like the detail where he's like, when they're like, how are we gonna do that? And he says, I don't know, because like,
Because he doesn't want to say it. And he's
yeah,
thinking of
in that
another option.
moment, yeah, you know,
But he already
knows.
knew.
Mhm.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that she says, I know, and then like gets
Mhm.
really loud about it and disappears.
Yeah, and then they become the Waynes,
Yeah.
which I think is very funny.
Yeah.
The Waynes out in the snow.
I don't know. I love that detail. I love how she delivered that line, and then just the timing of it all. It's like, I know I have to do this, but let me have my moment with Franklin first. So, yeah, I don't know. Very fun.
So I think we covered the main cast. I also like their assistant. She has a small role, but I think she's very
She's fun.
and she adds some very real, like, the in between the general public and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
She does some fun face acting where it's like,
Um,
you just told them they might die.
yeah,
I just work here, man.
yeah.
But
Also, we haven't touched on her at all. How did you feel about Rachel?
Rachel, Natasha Lyonne's character.
Mm-hmm.
That, I feel like her and Ben have a great scene somewhere on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that's such a shame.
Yeah.
Natasha Lyonne is such a, like, they're both actors are, like, so, like, unique and likable.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I also will say I want to shout out them actually for the first live action time that I can remember actively leading into Ben being a Jewish character.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I thought like him going there into the synagogue,
Yes.
you know, before the end times. It's like, hey, you're here for spiritual guidance, and like, yeah, well, you know, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Rachel.
Actually,
Clink.
hey Queen, since we're about to die, I love you.
How did you feel about Ben's beard?
Oh, I liked
I
it.
love the beard. I thought that was so fun.
I was kind of wondering, like, why is he growing a beard? But in the context of the movie, it totally makes sense, and it's fun. That was like a nitpicky thing in the trailers. I was like, okay, because I didn't know he had a beard at first, because I just didn't see it, and I just thought his face looked really weird. But then I saw the beard, and I was like, okay, that looks way more normal when I know what's going on here.
Sure.
So
End credit scene. The very last one is just the cartoon intro. Not much to talk about.
yeah, it's cute. Worst seeing once.
There. The first one. So we see Doom.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Doom?
So it's definitely like that hype moment. And it's so conflicting because you want to feel good about it because you're like, yay, Doom. Like, they're so involved with the Fantastic Four. That's going to lead into Doomsday. That's going to lead into Secret Wars. But it's just like so many things that you feel so horrible about, at least for us, about Doomsday, that it's like, man, it feels so exciting until you remember who's Doom and you remember whatever the heck is going on with that movie. Nothing good.
Yeah, I will say
So then it just dies.
the pros of this end credit scene
Yeah.
is
Looks
that
great.
Doctor Doom is there. Doctor Doom
He
is
has some
coming
green.
from that universe, which
Yeah.
I think is a great choice. They
Well,
do that joke that Latveria is
yeah.
the only country that isn't a part of the Future Foundation.
Well, he might not be coming from that universe. He might, but he might not.
Well,
we don't
if they
totally
don't know,
know that.
Then, because they hint at that Latveria is here. We have no
Yeah,
hint
yeah.
that Latveria exists
Yeah,
in
like-
the main MCU.
Yeah. But, like, he could be coming from somewhere else. Like, we don't know what his plan is. We don't know what his goal is, like, necessarily.
I'm going to say in the context of this film, I think it is a safe assumption. And if they change anything, I will call it a retcon. Because they set up that Doctor Doom is in this universe, and then they show Doctor Doom while we're in this universe.
Well, like, the
Anything
guy, at
else, I
least.
would say, is sloppy.
I don't know.
But I think it makes a lot of sense. Doctor Doom is a Fantastic Four villain. And if you're going to have him be in a movie with the Fantastic Four, I think anything other than them coming from the same universe would be very weird. And so inherently, I think that is a great idea. I think on a surface level, it's a great inclusion of him here.
I
Him,
guess, I don't know.
why he would
I guess
look
I just
like...
don't trust. Like, that makes
No,
sense.
that's so fair.
But that's why I'm, like, doubting it,
Like, if
because
Matt
I'm like...
Shackman was the one directing the
Yeah.
next movie that we were going to see all these characters in,
I'd
great
be
start.
like, yeah, that's from their universe. But that's why I'm hesitant, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but in the context
So-
we're working at here, the idea that they could
You would
retcon
think.
it because they haven't spelled it out here, I
Yeah.
think it's not Matt Shackman's job to spell anything out.
Yeah. Well, and he said the Russo brothers directed that post-credit scene.
Sure.
So,
But I think the idea that he already has the mask off, he's from this other universe, and has Robert Downey Jr.'s face, or more specifically in context, he randomly has the same face that Tony Stark has in the universe that we're going to have most
maybe
of our characters
randomly,
coming from.
maybe doesn't. We don't know. We don't like either option.
But he
so.
already has the mask off for some reason. And you know what? Maybe there's valid reasons. Maybe Franklin's showing him the universe. Maybe he's fixing the scar on his face, which is why he wears the mask to begin with. Who's it? What's it? Why's it? But it's still a very weird note. We don't see any other context of why the Fantastic Four are in that end credit scene at the end of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Which I know you said you have an issue with.
Yeah, I do. Because here's my thing. It's also conflicting. Because part of me's like, I wouldn't want anything in that vein to dampen this movie. But now, because in the same sense, now because they didn't have that lead up, that clear, this is when and why they're going to Earth 616 or whatever.
Yes.
Now they have to spend what's already going to be a super crowded movie. Now they have to spend more time having that happen. And it's either going to be rushed or everything else is going to be rushed, or I don't even know. I just
I'm gonna
don't.
posit an alternative with the idea, because we know because the end credit scene for Thunderbolts was filmed on the set of Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah. And maybe
Do
this
you-
was too, because apparently it was actually RDJ in that costume. Apparently. That's what they're saying. I don't know
Which
why it needed to be.
inherently like the idea that it's Robert Downey Jr. as Doom to begin with. Why? Why did it
Right.
need to be? You actually didn't need him there to film that.
Yeah.
Similar to, like, him being Doom. Anyone else could be
Kinda
Doom.
crazy.
And it's still just Doom.
Like, if you really, like, wanted something of him, you could have, like, had him voice it or something. But you don't need to, and you didn't need his face, and I don't know what they're doing there.
But
So, other than trying to guarantee people show up.
But hear
So.
me out on this idea. Like I
Okay.
said earlier in this episode, Franklin is a huge part of the fixing of Secret Wars.
Yes. Yeah.
So what if we have the Fantastic Four coming to 616 because Doom took Franklin at the end of this movie in that post-credit scene, and they're following him into the events of Doomsday.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as, this guy took my baby, we followed him here,
Yeah.
plot continues.
Well, and I do feel like Doom is gonna spend the beginning parts of the movie like kind of assembling his team of people, because I do think at this point he needs way more than himself to even stand up against the Avengers.
I think maybe not
So,
necessarily
I don't know about
a
way more,
team,
but
I think assembling the
3
things
people.
to recreate the universe.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that is a very strong argument for it.
Yeah. Like
Similar to like Thanos' team getting the Infinity Stones in
Yes.
Infinity War. I think that's very
Yes.
comparable.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think that's what he's probably going to do at the start. Obviously, he's going to take something or someone from the X-Men universe, which is probably... Well, I guess not obviously, but you would think... Because I don't know how else they're going to... I don't know. Unless they go there, I have no idea what's happening. So...
Because I know Secret Wars starts
So,
with a conversion.
yeah.
Not conversion. Convergence.
Yeah.
Where it's two universes colliding with
Yeah.
each other. Either destroy one or both get destroyed.
Yeah.
And you have hero versus hero trying to figure out whose planet gets to live.
Yeah.
Both planets collide. Doom creates Battle World, where it's hodgepodge pieces of all of the different universes combined into one place. And that's all that's left of the universe. The multiverse, even. So, I can very easily see with Monica from the Marvels being put into an X-Men universe, I can see
Yeah.
that being the universe that's converging with 616.
Yeah.
Pulling Franklin into this universe, into this conflict, would be what brings Fantastic Four into the whole conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's what we're looking at for Doomsday.
I think so. I mean, that's the scary thing is we don't know. Like, we can theorize all day, and there's many actors that have said they're not done with the script. They're still bringing people in. They're still changing things.
And
They're
as
still
scary as that
refilming.
is, movies do that.
Well, yes, but also I do, and that maybe this is me like trying to find shreds of hope. I am wondering if also that's just their plan from the beginning, because like they said during Endgame, at least like Tom Holland I think said he was given like multiple scripts.
Yeah.
And some like he didn't even have like his lines were cut out or whatever. Like, and that's their way of trying to avoid spoilers. With the actors, because the actors sometimes slip up, and with people and scalpers or not scalpers, scoopers, yeah, yeah. So
However,
maybe that's just me
counterpoint,
trying
they
to be
did just
hopeful.
hire a new writer. The writer. The
yeah.
worst writer.
Michael Aldred.
A pretty bad choice. But I don't
Not
want to say his
excited
name
for
too many
that.
times lest we summon him.
I know, like Beetlejuice. Anyways, yeah, and I do feel like that's me just trying to hold on to any shreds of hope.
No, I mean, I would
But-
imagine them in the similar vein of wanting the cast to not have everything in mind.
Well, and especially since they're bringing a lot of people in that they haven't worked with in a while, and maybe like some of these people have probably never worked with these people. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
Kevin has met everybody
Kevin worked on
at
the
this
original
point.
X-Men movies, but
Yeah.
he was a producer at best, I think.
Yeah, so very different than what he is now.
But they certainly haven't worked with the Russos.
So that's why I'm like, I do have to wonder and hope that it maybe part of it's just like to confuse them and confuse us so we don't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
So
The way I think it's always optimal to have a strong script going into it,
yeah.
into a project, I think a movie will almost never be worse off for having that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But movies have been made like this since the start of movies.
Yeah.
So it can be saved. However, given
Sure.
all of the other pieces, I still
Good.
have very controlled
Yeah.
very
That's
controlled
good.
standards.
Okay, we are 2.5 hours in, so I do want to kind of like hurry if that's okay.
Sure. We'll
So sorry,
wrap
guys.
it up. So Rotten Tomato critic score is.
Didn't we've already? I mean,
right,
we're already almost done.
Yeah.
Reviews, box office, and maybe quick ranking of the 4 movies coming out Phase 6.
So Rotten Tomatoes score, the critic score is an 88, and the audience score is at a 93, the highest for both categories for a Fantastic Four movie.
We love to see it.
The IMDb is at a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
The comparable movies that they offer for IMDb score, Superman is a 7.6.
Mm-hmm.
The 2005 Fantastic Four is a 5.7. 5.6 for the Silver Surfer one. Thunderbolts was a 7.3.
I mean, like, everybody thought Thunderbolts was good. It just didn't make a lot of money. But I'm glad that this is already not that case. Now, I'm not
Yes.
going to guarantee that it's going to make, like, $1 billion or, like, it's probably not. Just like Superman. I imagine they're going to probably perform similarly. We'll have to see on second weekend, but...
Yeah, and then its cinema score was an A-.
Yeah, and
So.
that's exactly the same as Superman, so... It is, I have the numbers.
Go for it.
So domestically, it's currently, I don't know if it's updated from yesterday or not. Usually updates around noon, so I'm not really sure. Probably though. Right now we're looking at a domestic box office of 118 million and international 100 million. So just a little less on international.
That does mean it updated because it wasn't that earlier
Yeah.
when we started the episode.
Well, and I feel like 'cause
What's that total?
Superman 218 million.
I want to look
So
at the
already
other
great
opening.
start. Because I know Superman, what was worrisome and what I think is going to make our original guesses for the end box office be too high is because international is just not bringing as much in as it usually does or needs to get those good numbers. Which international is less here as well. But I feel like, and I don't know if I'm right, but it's just my like gut feeling that it's not quite as big of a difference as Superman was. I might be wrong on that though. I don't have any facts to back that up.
Its opening is the fourth highest of the year. It is right behind Superman, which had 125.
Okay.
Domestic, and this is domestic.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
I mean,
interesting. It is domestically behind Superman. I think
Yeah.
I'll be very interested to see how these two kind of compete and go against each other.
I'm very interested to see what it ends up doing. Do you have like a guess you would say? I think for Superman I said something like 850 and I feel like that's going to be way too high.
For Superman you did put 850. I was at 790.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like I think that's still going to be too high. But unfortunately, cuz I do think international is just
I think we're
not
looking
as
at
good.
probably high 60s, very low 7s.
Yeah.
For which honestly,
Superman?
I think is going to be fine for Superman. As long as it makes more than Man of Steel, then we're golden.
Yeah.
In terms of calling this
So.
a very
Yeah.
success across the board.
Cuz I think today it's supposed to pass 500 million
Yes, it did
worldwide.
that this weekend.
Yeah. So I think
And
I think
don't
it can
think
get there.
as much competition going forward now that Fantastic Four is out. That was its
Yeah.
biggest competition. And honestly, even after seeing it this weekend, like on its third weekend, it was still a pretty full theater.
Yeah. So that's
So
good.
for Fantastic Four, if I had to put money on the table, and I will say, if it makes 400 million, it's already the most successful.
Yeah, and I
Like it needs to be
it will.
330 to be the most successful Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. So there you go.
So I'm going to ballpark us at
Well, even just this year, like we were kind of wondering, oh my god, like because there's no way this movie does bad, right? But then Thunderbolts did bad, and everybody loved that, had good word of mouth. But this one has already proven that wrong. It's already doing better. I feel like I'm gonna say like I might be a little pessimistic because I just way overshot Superman, but like I'm thinking anywhere between 600 and 650 million.
I'm also there. I'm gonna say 610.
Okay, I'll say 600 because I would love to be proven wrong in it going higher than that, you know?
Sure.
So I'm gonna be sad when Superman does not make anywhere near my guess. But anyways,
Yeah,
I didn't.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have those locked in. So ranking the next, what is that? 1, 2, 3 movies. Well,
True.
the only 3 movies left that are announced for
Official.
the MCU in the coming
There's
years.
apparently one untitled project,
That's
but we
supposed
can't
to come
really.
out between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So very
Yeah.
interested to see what that is.
You had a fun theory that you want it to be a Young Avengers
My
kind of thing.
perfect pitch to try and wrap everything together is
Yeah.
to make the Secret Avengers or the Champions or whatever you want to call that team be kind of the in between these two movies. Doomsday ends at a point where where the team that's fighting there is stuck, stopped, can't go forward for whatever reason.
Yeah.
In between that, you have the Young Avengers, the Champions, who have to go in, oh, something's happening. Somehow the universes are colliding. I'm closer to all of
Yeah.
these other young heroes for whatever reason. We should go make sure that the events can continue to happen in this huge event.
Yeah.
Ends with successful thing happening that picks back up in Secret Wars.
Yeah. Almost like you phrase it like you have to see it to understand what's happening in the next movie.
Something like that.
In a way.
It has to be its own story on its own legs, but the idea that it's tying directly into what's happening.
Yeah. Or it at least like something like Captain Marvel where it at least like ends where it's connecting. It needs to have some sort of like end note, which not necessarily that's going to be like a Champions thing, but that would be fun. I'm also still like every single day I'm like Scarlet Witch solo project, just do it. Just do it. You'll make $1 million. Like come on. But
For sure.
anyway, especially if it's in between the two Avengers movies. But anyways, a girl
So
can dream.
the 3 that we know of is Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Doomsday, and Secret Wars.
I have a very easy rank.
Same here.
I'm pretty
you
sure they're
wanna-
gonna be the same.
Is it bottom to top?
Doomsday,
Secret Wars, and Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Yep. Because listen, I am very worried about Doomsday. Secret Wars, at the very least, had some really cool concept art. And we don't know as much about it, so therefore we don't have as much to worry about. So we'll come back to this after
There's more
Doomsday.
time for it to be fixed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I love Spider-Man. I love his movies.
Destin Daniel Creighton is...
yeah.
Creighton, I think is his name.
Correct.
The director from Shang-Chi. Amazing
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Amazing
Punisher's
visuals.
gonna be in it.
Punisher, Hulk.
I'm so excited to see them, especially right after the Odyssey. That's going to be really fun. Yeah, the Hulk's going to be in it, which I think is interesting. I'm open to seeing what they do with that, basically. And at least, they're going to use him in a non-Avengers movie, which is fun. Well, I guess they used him in Ragnarok, but he was really fun in Ragnarok, so, yeah, excited.
So very excited. Very, very excited.
Maybe he'll actually get to be like the Hulk. We'll see. A girl can dream.
We'll see. I would like... My dream would be for it to be open-ended. Because, so truthfully... I feel they can still do a Hulk movie whenever they want to, no matter how tame they make Hulk. Because Hulk is a being of rage. And literally, you can have his son die at any moment to make him Angry Hulk again.
Yeah. He does have a son.
He now has a son. Isn't that crazy?
Now.
Who remembers that?
Whether or not they acknowledge that, because Kevin Feige has also said that there's a few characters that have been in Phase 4 and 5, and we're never gonna see them again. That's what he said. So, looking at you, Eros and Hercules.
Yeah.
Sorry. But anyways,
But, last thing I had that I want to ask really quick, is there anything you want to see from a future Fantastic Four sequel?
just more stuff with Ben, more stuff with Reed. Maybe Johnny actually finding some romance that he gets to explore. This one was fun, but obviously didn't work out. Maybe seeing what that's like, and then it's just gonna be a different thing anyways, because now they have Franklin and now they had a time skip, so it's gonna. And then, by the time we see a sequel, it's going to be after whatever happens in the Avengers movies. So it's going to be just totally different regardless. But specifically, I want more exploration with something with Ben and Reed. So
Okay. I
there you
think
go.
maybe having Alicia show up.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Me? I'm just kidding. Honestly, no, I'm just kidding. And then,
They talk about Malice. I think that would be a fun arc. They
Yeah.
also have another kid to be had with Valerie Richards.
yeah.
That is still potentially
Franklin's going to be
there.
older, so he's actually going to probably get some dialogue here and there. So, and maybe have some
And Valerie and
powers.
Franklin aren't that different in age. So if you're going to
That's true.
follow what you're going for, that's...
You need to have her soon, if you're gonna have her. So we'll see.
Sure.
I hope they do.
So
But
some
anyways.
interesting options. And then also there's conversations that Vanessa Kirby's interested in seeing whatever could happen between Sue and Namor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair,
Yeah. Can't blame her, man. Can't blame her.
but that
anyways.
will all be unfolded eventually. So
Yeah.
Let us know. What did you think about Fantastic Four First Steps? What do you think they're gonna look like whenever we see them next in Doomsday? And what do you...
What beyond that?
Yeah, what are your
What do you want
thoughts?
beyond
Give me the
that?
thoughts.
So, there you go. Thanks for listening.
And what do you want to see from a
Yeah.
potential sequel
Yeah.
directly to Fantastic Four? Would love to hear.
Second
your
steps,
thoughts.
as you said.
Second
I think that's
steps.
fun. So
Next-
yeah.
oh, Fantastic Four Next Steps?
Yes. Wait, I actually love that. But anyways.
But anyways, thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for listening. You can watch Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters this weekend. We highly recommend you do so.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out for some more episodes from us. We have some more movies coming out next weekend, and we also are finishing up the Sandman season 2. We have a lot to talk about there.
We are going to talk about that. We're waiting for the last special to come out, so we just have all the content to talk about. So,
But until then, I am your host, Luke.
I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you guys so much for listening to Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.